What time it is?
Sometime early Tuesday morning.
Are you ready?
Ready for what?
For a Tuesday morning show.
I was born ready.
But first,
We will need some
coffee.
Coffee?
Coffee!
Can't start the day without that fresh
Cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee. Get it?
Got it. Get it?
Got it.
Good.
Well then.
It's showtime.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Tuesday morning. Well, moments after we left the air yesterday, the AP Top 25 came out. And man, it looks a lot like the coaches poll. It just doesn't seem like anybody really wants to stray that far. You know, the parallels are obvious. They usually are. And this time it was almost a carbon copy. Ohio State's number 1 in both polls. Oregon's number 2 in both polls. Georgia's number 3 in both polls. Texas Tech is the top Big 12 team in both polls. Texas Tech is 12 in both polls. Now, there's a little difference here in that BYU was tied for 14 with USC in the media poll, but in the coaches poll, SC was 14 and BYU was 15. They weren't tied. It's just not that much. Utah's 21 in both polls. Houston's 23 in one poll, 24 in the other. So there's just not that much different. We could talk about stuff, I guess. I actually thought Paul Feinstein on the SEC honk on ESPN, actually, I got to agree with him. And he said, I'm surprised Oklahoma's 10. I don't think they're a top 10 team. I don't think they'll finish a top 10 team. I'd agree with that. I think looking at Michigan's schedule, which of course I'm looking at because Kyle Whittingham is there and Jay Hill is there and there's half dozen players there and Beck is there. And so you got a lot of local stories and local ties. And looking at a schedule, to me, they've got 4, arguably with Iowa 5, big games. And I think the two that jump out at me as the hardest are Indiana and Oregon. I mean, they got to go to Oregon. I don't see how they're going to do that. I do think Ohio State plays tight in the rivalry game. Ryan Day's coached the team to a national championship. It's not that, he's terrible, but he also doesn't strike me as a guy who always has it buttoned up. And, he coached Ohio State past Utah in the Rose Bowl, but he had an NFL quarterback and Kyle Whittingham didn't. And he had his starting quarterback at the end of the game, and Kyle Whittingham didn't. And he put in a backup, a walk-on who had no experience, and went down the field and scored a touchdown and tied the game with 2 minutes left. Now, why that thing was tied for 58 minutes when Ohio State had NFL wide receivers and Utah did not, when Ohio State had starting defensive backs and Utah was playing running backs at defensive back, Kyle wasn't playing with the same number of cards. And yet somehow the game was tied with 2 minutes ago. Ohio State won it with a late field goal. I think Michigan can get that game. And then also the Oklahoma game. I mean, Oklahoma had a good defense last year. The offense and maybe material will be, better this year and healthier this year. But I don't see it. So I think Michigan's got a great opportunity there. Now, Michigan's got issues themselves at quarterback. So, we'll see how that plays out. Can he run that offense? And Devon Dampier ran it last year. Well, it was Devon Dampier's second year running it. He got to run it a year at New Mexico, then a year at Utah. So, a little different deal. In the media poll, Michigan was 16th. And in the coaches poll, Michigan was 16th. Back to my original point. It's the same over and over. I don't know what to tell you. All right, DJ and PK. We got to get to the Utes now. Some college football. They're up on the hill, meeting with the media. The teams don't meet every day, so we don't have new stuff for you every day. We had Cougar stuff yesterday. We got the Ute stuff today. Hunter Andrews meeting with the media very, very briefly. Here's Hunter Andrews.
Hunter, how are you feeling after missing a lot of last year?
I was pretty upset at first about it, but it feels pretty good to be back. I feel better than I did before, so I'm ready to get back out there.
What does this offense do for you personally?
Just gets the ball to playmakers all around the field. We'll try to get you the ball any way it can, so we have a lot of playmakers out there, so a lot of people touch the ball in this offense.
How do you feel like things are coming along with Coach McGivern? Do you think everybody's grasping the offense well?
Yes, sir, definitely. I think everyone loves him. The offense is easy to pick up, and he's been an all-around great guy.
Morgan said there's been a lot of back and forth between the offense and defense. Is that a good thing for you guys? Do you feel like that helps you guys grow as you move into the season?
I think that's great for us. Iron sharpens iron, so think it's great. We're making the defense better. The defense is making us better, definitely.
With that in mind, can you kind of tell us just a little bit about the scrimmage? Like, how good was it just to go out there and let it fly a little bit?
Felt great. I mean, I was ready to play. Been a long time since I've been out there, so it was awesome.
Devon coming back, a leader for this team, especially with, a new offense. How helpful has it been to have Devon kind of leading the way for you guys?
Yeah, he's a great leader. Anytime I'm struggling with the plays or anything, he'll help me out, and he just helps us a lot. He's a great leader. So.
All right, there's Hunter Andrews. Here's Solatoa Moea'i.
Go easy. It's my first time. I've never done this before.
Hard questions.
Sure.
How do you feel like this offensive line is gelling?
I think it's going really good. We have a good leadership under the seniors, Al, Zeraway, Keith. Coach Gross stepped in with Coach Gerke, and they've been really good in getting us to hone in on our technique, our fundamentals, and just work together, work as an offensive unit, all five.
How helpful has it been for a brand new offensive line to have a vet like Devon back there kind of showing you guys what to do?
I mean, Devon makes our job a lot easier, being able to move in space and being smart and helping us with our protections and things like that. And he's really encouraging to us, to the O-line, letting us know that he got us and he needs to get the ball out, and we can do a better job protecting, of course. But it's really great to have that leadership back there.
What impresses you most about the freshman Kelvin Oba?
Oh, Big Kel, yeah. I mean, when I came in with Spencer, and so we came in together, and it's kind of like that same thing, that those big names, big guys who come in early and have to work, and I see a lot of resemblance. He's stepping in, he's learning a lot. His body's really maturing, seeing when he came in, working with Coach Saunders, he got real big. But, I mean, he's really stepping up for us, for sure.
Can you describe Coach Scalley as a head coach?
Oh, Coach Scalley's a man, and I love it. I mean, we never got to see that culture side on the offense. They have like that whole R&B thing, and him being able to bring that to the whole offense or the whole team and learning it is really cool. And he's he's really personable. He comes up to us, he texts us, has some stuff with Hawaii. They got storms going on in there. He texted me last night, checking in. So. You get the coach and the human, being there for us. It's really cool.
You put in your dues as an offensive lineman. What's it like to kind of be in that mix now for a starting unit and kind of getting your shot?
Yeah, it feels nice. Those 5 guys last year, they've been there since I was here, and they were dogs. It was nice that I got to play with them and learn from them, but I'm really excited to get out there.
Obviously, you've returned with the most snaps played within the group after last year. Just how have you stepped up as a leader?
I would say I've just been trying to see stuff that I've actually talk about stuff that I've actually seen. As far as I'll be watching them on the side, as far as sets, footwork, and things like that, and I kind of just come off one-on-one to talk to them. Maybe do it like this, do it like that, and yeah.
We've heard a lot about how much the offense and defense is pushing each other. How good is this D, and how nice is it to have a group of guys that is making you better every single day?
Oh, yeah, man. Our D-line is solid. Our linebackers are flying around, Jono and Trey. And it's comforting to know that, we're going against one of the best defenses, in the nation. And it's iron sharpens iron. They're getting us better for sure.
There's Solatoa Moea'i. Now here's the quarterback, Devon Dampier.
Devon, Morgan said it's been a bit of back and forth between the offense and defense. What's that been like this year, and how good is that? I mean, obviously you want the offense clicking, but how good is that for your team?
Man, I think that's great, honestly. That means that, we're both elevating together. We're both going into film. One side of the ball has a worse day. We're going into film. They're applying it. Same thing as us. If we have a worse day to them, we're applying it. So it's just great to see that, we have a full team. We have a full team where not one side is dominating every day. We have a team that knows how to come back after a bad day. That just shows, adversity, that we have that.
Can you talk to the competitiveness within the defensive sector and what sort of looks they give you in the passing game?
Yeah, man, Swan's trying to make sure I see everything. He's a coach that I get a very few conversations with, just him trying to make me better. But honestly, they're pressuring, they're showing different type of looks, and just everything that makes me a better player. It makes me more aware of any situation. I know what's best for the offense, so what type of checks I need to get into. So he's making me a better quarterback every single day.
Did anything stand out from the scrimmage on Saturday?
Man, I would say that back and forth, honestly. We scored pretty early on a drive, and man, that next drive, we stayed out there and defense shut us out just like that. So just for them to be able to respond every single time, and also we got shut out, then we go back out and, we do our thing. So I'm just happy that we keep continuing to just apply things. We're hearing our coaching points and we're applying it.
Dev, I saw just the other day another award, preseason watch list. I guess, what's it like for you heading into a season with so much, I guess you could say, outside expectations for you?
Man, when football season comes around, I stick to the building. So, whatever's happening inside the facility, that's all I care about at the end of the day.
How's this wide receiver group looking?
Man, they're looking amazing. Man, we talk about depth. Man, the ones, the twos, and then we got even threes starting to step up and making a fight to get on the field. So just to have that many players, I feel confident whoever's in there. Honestly, whatever receiver group's in there with me, I believe they're all going to make plays. So that's a great feeling for a quarterback to have out there.
Devon, what have you seen from the offensive line? Obviously, you're replacing 5 starters from last year. Just what has your look of it been? Obviously, you're behind them all the time.
Yeah.
Just walk us through that.
Yeah. Chemistry and toughness is what I've seen. For one, we had a full starting group last year, so for all of them to get in here, they're a little nervous. I feel like they weren't fully themselves, starting off spring ball, and just the chemistry they were able to build during the summer, and especially, again, that toughness, that confidence that, I am the guy now. This is our 5. This is who's going to be out here. You can just tell that, they're embracing it. They're happy. They're clicking a lot better. They're able to make calls, and, just confidence.
What do you see more here? Has anybody stuck out to you on that offensive line?
Big Al manages a lot being the center. It takes a lot to find a way to make all 5 of those guys work together. That's a huge role for a center to have, and, he's doing a great job of it.
There's Utah quarterback Devon Dampier. Now here's the head coach, Morgan Scalley.
Good. You're getting into the dog days of fall camp. It's easy to have energy on day one, easy to be excited on day one. It's having that same energy throughout. Really good practice today, competitive. We're becoming better, situational mechanics, and it's good that it's competitive right now, that you don't have one side dominating the other. And I think the coaches are doing a good job of keeping our guys fresh, but understanding we got to be physical.
Coach, offensive line was a big priority coming into camp. Do you feel like you've got this down to 2 or 3 combinations you feel good about?
Not yet. We're still a couple of bumps and bruises that shifts things around, but we'll have our dudes by game 1.
Where does Obot fit into that?
He's looking really good, but he understands the stuff he needs to work on, and no spots are solidified right now.
You guys had a scrimmage on Saturday. What stood out from that, first scrimmage?
I would say the play of Matiaki Helu showed up in a big way. Lance Holtzclaw off the edge, making a bunch of plays, receivers downfield. So there's a lot of good stuff. I thought the situational mechanics, like I said, that's one thing that, at the beginning of camp, not clean enough, not fast enough, but much better. I'd say red zone work, kind of a mixed bag. We need to be more efficient, not enough touchdowns in the red zone, too many field goals. Having said that, the kicking game's really good. Kicking game is really good. Love our 2 kickers, and obviously Orion's been established as a punter, but both Dylan and Tanner are doing a nice job.
Morgan, obviously the offensive line has been a question mark for you guys. Just what else do you want to see out of them as fall camp progresses?
I would say I think we've gotten to the point where we're physical enough. The pre-snap penalties are being cut down. Just continued progress. There's not one glaring thing where I'm sitting there saying, like, we're deficient here. It's just maybe a little bit cleaner in the things that we're doing, from protection to taking on slanters. So, and they've got, one of the best teachers I know in Jordan Gross. So, I'm excited for that group and what they're going to show that first game.
How does the defense look right now?
Defense looks good. We're solidifying that, the D tackle spot. Same thing on offense. You get these bumps and bruises, guys, having to be out of practice or 2. So still that's up for grabs as well. Getting Carson Kafusi back and, mixing in some guys. So that's unsettled right now.
Are you still exploring bringing back into Kawhi Rogers or any other class of 22 guys, or do you feel like this roster's set?
We feel pretty good right now.
This time last week, you talked about tensions being kind of high between the offense and the defense, and maybe even want them to cool down a little bit. What is the process like, and how neat is it to watch a team become a team when they stop competing with each other and start, jumping on the same page?
Oh, I think we have it now, and I wouldn't say, you have to be competitive without being combative. It's the stuff that's going to get you penalized, the extra shoves and stuff like that, and so there is a fine line, but our guys do a really good job of making sure that we don't take it to that next level where all of a sudden there's stupid penalties, and I would say it's really not an issue, and this is a very close team. I'm excited.
It seems like you've made a pretty intentional effort to invite former players back into the program, have them watch practice. Why is that important for you?
Why is it important to have alumni around? Well, man, they bled and sweat, and they love this program, and they want to know that there's a legacy there. That our current players didn't build this building. Our current players are building their own legacy. So there's a lot of guys with a lot of passion for this program. The way it's been run, the family atmosphere, they need to know that continues.
You talked about, obviously, the offensive and defensive line. There's still positions up for grabs. Mm-hmm. How about the depth and your pecking order at wide receiver, corner, some of those other positions?
Just lovely. We got good ones. I'm not going to tell you what that depth is, but we got good depth, and do your fantasy draft or whatever. That we got really good ones. I'm excited for that group both, and that's another group that traditionally they're sitting there in their fights every day with the wide receivers and DBs. They do a really good job of pushing each other, but knowing that we got to get to the party healthy.
All right, there is Morgan Scalley. We got more football coming up. Josh Furlong on the Utes on his vote in the top 25 poll. We'll get to that coming up. Also, PK found a quote. Max Kellerman, longtime national media figure, was at ESPN for a long time, although they let him go. He had an interesting quote on LeBron and involved Karl Malone, and we'll get to that next. Stay with us. DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. PK, you got a quote. I guess people have to say things, but that doesn't mean we have to believe them.
No, not at all. I come across this. Max Kellerman. Oh, Max. Pushing LeBron James over Karl Malone. Okay, we can live with that. But what he says, this particular sentence, complete and disrespect. Total disrespect. I missed out the word total. For letter carrier. Says, LeBron James's past year in the playoffs at 41 years old was better than Karl Malone ever was a day in his life in the NBA. A day.
Come on, man.
A day.
If I had to pick one, and I'll even go to late in his career, like LeBron. Late in his career, Karl would have been 36 when he had his 50-point playoff game against the Seattle Supersonics. It's pretty good that day. 50 at the age of 36. Come on.
Well, yeah, 36. Wow. 26.
Yeah, right. But still, he was past the 2 MVP awards. The thing about Karl, and clearly Max is calling up, there were elimination games and 3 for 17, and he pointed games in Portland and Houston and wherever else. He wasn't good.
He had his disappointments.
Right. But also, there were times that he looked at Hall of Famers and he completely owned them. Dominating San Antonio and David Robinson. And one year, Tim Duncan. I mean, their careers barely overlapped. And Shaq. He had there was a series hanging in the balance in 97. It's 2-1. They're in L.A. for Game 4. Malone goes off for 37. I think he had 17 straight free throws in the game or something ridiculous like that. He was completely locked in. It's just money. So stop with the
1989-90, and I've got his stats here. He averaged 38 minutes a game. And how many games did he play?
My guess is the number is going to be 82.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Right.
Educated guess.
And he averaged 31 right on the button and 11.1 boards. And 2.8 assists. Yeah. And even a steal and a half. Now, he wasn't a high flyer, so he didn't have block shots, weren't really his thing. Shot 56% from the field.
Yeah.
56%.
Yeah, a little over the top. I mean, I get Max's point. LeBron was great in that, that the Lakers, that shorthanded, won a playoff series, and Houston had their problems. We've talked about this before. You pointed that out. Houston was a flawed team. They had a massive injury of their own early in the year. So, but nonetheless, for LeBron to lead them to a playoff series win at that point in his career, that's phenomenal. I mean, I don't know what more you expected out of the guy.
For his career, he averaged 37 minutes a game.
Sweet. No one's coming near that.
Multiple times, he averaged 40 minutes a game.
Oh, really? How many would that be early? Because I don't think he was doing that by the time we got here. But we got here halfway through his career.
Yes.
Oh, really? He did?
The first year.
Okay.
93-94. Played all 82.
Mm-hmm.
40 and a half minutes a game.
Wow.
25 and 11 and a half. Come on.
Eaton, that was year Mark Eaton's back, forced him into retirement, and they basically played without a center that year. So Karl probably had to play bigger minutes as they tried to ham and egg it through the season without a center.
90-91, he averaged 40. So twice he averaged 40 minutes a game.
That's staggering.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is staggering.
Yeah, he had a million failures, whatever. That's part of the story. But also part of the story is the stuff I've just been saying.
Yep.
You can't just go to one part of the story. You got to, with him, and he's as complex a superstar as there's ever been. And he's got all sorts of personal issues, and that's part of the story, too. I don't have any problem discussing any of that. I was part of the Tribune at the time when we were writing stories that were not very complimentary. And I was on that. And I did stuff. I wasn't the lead person, but I did stuff. And then you got missing foul shots in the playoff, blah, blah, blah. That's part of the story, too. Okay, fine. But also, this is part of the story. If you're going to tell the story, that's it. That's the story. Or do you want to just tell part of the story, or you want to tell the story?
Well, it depends who you are.
Well, but see,
but
if you tell the story...
I get your point.
That includes everything. But if you want to tell part of the story, then you got to tell us this is part of the story. You see the difference?
I do.
Yeah. So you got to tell... If you just want to tell part of it, so be it. But if you want to tell the story, you got to tell the other stuff that I just mentioned here. You cannot overlook that. That's why you're telling part of the story, because there was that other stuff on the floor. If he was Olden Polynice, just to pick a name, we wouldn't be talking about him.
That was exactly the point. There's no way that would be who Max referenced.
Right.
He referenced them because there were all these positives.
Right.
But he clearly thinks the negatives were underreported.
At 41, LeBron, no. LeBron overall, yes. 41, no.
When we come back, Josh Furlong talking top 25. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. Josh Furlong joined us during yesterday's show because he's a top 25 AP voter. And, of course, the poll wasn't out at that point. But we wanted to talk to him more about what he did, why he did it, the reaction he gets to that. Here's Josh Furlong with PK and I on the Zone. I'm wondering if you're doing well, Furlong, though. The top 25 poll comes out.
Not for Furlong.
Then, nice. Then everybody analyzes how the 65 voters rank teams, and then the hardcore at University of fill in the blank begin to search people out and harass them. You got any good stories about people going at you for the way you voted?
Oh yeah, I mean every year there's something. I don't know that I have one in particular. I mean, but you get people even yesterday that were pretty upset with how I've put the people. Obviously I have a Big Ten and SEC bias, or I'm not ranking the local teams high enough. It's the same every year, but you just kind of roll with it. I mean, sometimes it gets a little personal. Other times you just have to get off social media.
Yeah, there you go.
Gosh, I hate your ballots. They're always so one-sided, favoring the Big Ten and the SEC and Notre Dame, while always dismissing BYU. Not saying BYU should be number one, but you, of all people, should be more bullish on the local teams. Now, that isn't me talking. That is somebody else, and that's what you're referring to, I assume.
Exactly. It's the same argument every year, and it's fine, right? I mean, that's the hard part, right? Is like, obviously I do have more insight on the local teams, and so there's one hand where you can praise them and you can lift them up a little bit, and then on the other hand you see their warts and you see what's going on with them a little bit more than maybe other teams. And so I think it's a tough task to be able to kind of balance those things and try to say, okay, am I judging them too harshly compared to everybody else? But it's the nature of it. It's a preseason poll. Like it's just a snapshot in time, and it's not anything too serious.
Every year people look for the team that in the top 25 completely falls apart. And last year, number 2, number 4, number 9, Penn State, Clemson, and LSU. LSU fires their coach. Penn State fires their coach in October because of a 3-game losing streak. Pretty dramatic. Is there anybody you put in the top 10 and think, well, based on who they have back, I need to put them here, but I totally realize the bottom could fall out?
I mean, that could be any team, right? Like, because last year I had Penn State number 1. So it's like, I don't know that you expect your number 1 team to drop out of the poll completely, fire its coach, do that kind of stuff. So it's tough to predict, but I mean, there's different things where they have to hit, right? Like, I think Notre Dame is an easy one for everybody to kind of latch onto. With that said, they have a pretty weak schedule. So it's like, if you can't get it done there, then the bottom really does drop out for you. But I think they're the team that many expect to probably not be among the top 5 that I have in there. I have them currently rated number 4. I think there's a lot riding on this season for CJ Carr. Can he be the quarterback that they need him to be? What can they do? There's a team like Ole Miss where, Trinidad Chambliss is coming in for another season, coming off a hot season last year with Lane Kiffin. Now he has to do it under a new head coach. Does Ole Miss have what it takes to be able to be that team? I don't know. That's, on paper, it looks good. They've got a lot of returners. They've got a lot of talent. Pete Golding is a great head coach. At least we assume so from an SEC level. But I think there's teams like that they could fall. I imagine Ohio State and Oregon, Miami, those types of teams will probably be at the top still. But, anything's, crazy in this sport. And that's what's great about it is you get to be able to watch these games. You get to be able to enjoy it. That doesn't invalidate these preseason polls. It's really just a snapshot in time. That's what I try to remind people. It's a snapshot in time where, you're looking and you're saying, okay, here's the teams where we think they're going to be. And obviously that gets changed every single week.
Big 12-wise, we've got Texas Tech at 10, which you should say you have. BYU 16, Utah 20, and then rounding it out with Houston at 25. Give us your thoughts as to what went into that.
Yeah, Texas Tech, I mean, they return a lot of talent, plus they just continue to stock up in the transfer portal. So there's a good reason for them to be at the top. If there is a team that I think could potentially drop it, maybe Texas Tech. We don't know what's going to happen at quarterback, right? Will Hammond is expected to be the starting QB, but we don't really know if he's going to be ready. We don't know if they're going to have what they need to at the time. Their schedule's soft enough that it probably helps them, but they may not be the same juggernaut that they were last year. I think there's a lot of people that expect BYU to be that team, and, for good reason. They return a lot of their talent from last year. Bear Bachmeier's coming into a second season where he's got a lot more experience. Obviously, there's questions on the defensive side in terms of, can Kelly Papinga continue what Jay Hill did? They're not going to change much, but at the same time, there's going to be some changes there. Do they have a wide receiver that can really kind of spread the field for them? What's going to happen there? So that's why I put them a tiny bit lower. I still think BYU is probably near the top there, but at the same time, there's some questions they need to prove as well. And then Utah, Utah, obviously, that's a team that has a ton of questions, but I think there's potential there. Coming off an 11-2 season where you have Devon Dampier, you have, Wayshawn Parker, you have potentially the best wide receiver corps that they've ever had there, mix in with a defense that for the most part rebuilds every single year. There's belief that they can do it. That's why I have them at 20. I want them to be able to show that they can do a little bit more, but at the same time, validate that they can be good enough. And then Houston, Houston's one where I toyed with either them or Arizona. I think Houston has probably a little bit more of an edge right now. They've got a lot of returning talent as well, but at the same time, they haven't been able to really sustain it a ton, and their schedule wasn't as challenging last year, and they still weren't able to do it as well. So, Houston, Arizona, maybe even Kansas State probably could fit in that same 25 spot. I think there is at least one other Big 12 team in there, but I chose Houston just because Connor Wegman's back. He's a returning, you could put Arizona there with Noah Fafita, but I think Houston has a little bit more of an edge right there right now.
You mentioned Wayshawn Parker, and he had to split time early in the season. It was amazing to me how little he got the ball until the last 5 or 6 games of the year when his numbers exploded. Does he get the ball? Does he get 15 to 20 carries a game this year? Or is McGivern going to throw the ball more, so even if he's the featured back, there aren't going to be as many carries to be had?
Yeah, I think that'll probably be more telling based on this offensive line. I think if that offensive line can establish a good run game, then I think Wayshawn will be a big focus of that in terms of, like you said, 15 to 20 carries a game. But I think they're going to try to involve him more in the passing game as well. There's going to be a lot more, short passes, intermediate passes, behind the line of scrimmage passes for Wayshawn. But I think all in all, he's going to be much more of a focus than he ever was. I don't think Utah's going to abandon the run, right? Like, this isn't Kevin McGivern coming in here and suddenly Utah is operating air raid offense. This is going to be balanced in the sense that he feels like he wants to have a balance toward his playmakers, right? That's going to be Wayshawn Parker. That's going to be Braden Pagan. That's going to be a whole host of other players. And so I think whoever has the hot hand, so to speak, is going to be able to get that. So there may be some games where Wayshawn isn't utilized that much. Maybe he's 10 carries a game. And another, I feel like they're going to be able to utilize him 15, 20 carries a game. But even then, even though he's quote-unquote RB1, I don't know that it's the same as years past where there's this quote-unquote bell cow back, right? Like, I don't think teams are focusing in on that as much. It's much more spread the ball around. You've got a lot of guys, Hunter Andrews, you got Nate Johnson, Bird Ficklin for that matter, who are going to be able to get in there and factor into the run game, passing game, all kinds of stuff. So, I think it's got to be a shift in mindset in terms of how Utah approaches this. Wayshawn is still the lead guy, and he's going to get the bulk of those carries, but I think it's going to vary on a game-to-game basis.
Your top 5, starting with number 1 and going through down to 5, Ohio State, number 1, Oregon, in number 2, Miami 3, Notre Dame 4, Georgia 5. And then you got Texas at 6. A lot of people think that Texas might be the favorite this year. And so from that perspective, that's probably a little low. What is your thought process there?
Yeah, I think, they have a few returners, but they are rebuilding, a fair amount of their team. If I'm right, let me just verify that I had it. But 2 of their top 3 wide receivers transferred out, and they do bring in some talent through the transfer portal and get the number 1 wide receiver from the portal class. So, there's talent in there, but I think from where they're at and where Georgia's at, it's slim, but I think Georgia has a little bit more consistency. They have a returning quarterback who has been a little bit more successful. Obviously, Arch Manning can be a very solid quarterback, and that's the belief, especially as he started to develop as the season went on. But I think there's a little bit more of the pieces around them on the offensive side of the ball that are of a question as compared to Georgia. Now, Georgia isn't perfect, right? Last year, they weren't a perfect team and still somehow ended up winning the SEC. So it's fractions, right? Quite honestly, I even think Oklahoma could be above Texas to some extent. I think they're all kind of lumped in there right in that bunch where, if John Mateer looks like the John Mateer from the beginning of the season before his hand injury, this could be a different game for Oklahoma. So I think there's just these little nuances there. I think Texas is a really solid team. Steve Sarkisian is going to be another great head coach this year. It's just going to matter on who emerges from that. And obviously they've got the talent. They've got, the transfer portals that come in. It just is going to depend on who kind of separates themselves from that. And right now I just give Georgia the nod because they are the defending champions. They have a little bit more consistency. And, that's just kind of the nature of what it's been in the SEC for the last few years.
Anyone who's listened to this show know there's two teams that PK loves to loathe. Ohio State, who you ranked 1, and Oregon, who you ranked 2. Oregon's only losses in the last 2 years have only lost 3 games, and they've been to the teams that have won the title. What's separating them from kicking the door in? And it looks like you've got them losing one more time, getting frustratingly close and coming up short again.
Yeah, I think Oregon is a very interesting team, right? Because they clearly have the pieces to be able to do what they need to win a national title. But for whatever reason, they haven't been able to close the gap. Now, I think the fact that they have Dante Moore coming back, they have probably one of the best wide receiver corps in the entire country. They've got a solid defense. There's so many reasons to believe in Oregon, but it's one of those things where, I rode with Oregon the entire time that they were the number 1 team, right? Like they clearly were the number 1 team, but they weren't able to get it done in the playoffs. And granted, you can argue the playoff system really messed them up and it wasn't a great system for them. But I think they just, for whatever reason, haven't taken that next step. Ohio State is obviously a little bit more consistent. They're bringing in Julian Sayin. They've got their star running back coming back. They've got obviously Jeremiah Smith. They've got a lot of the consistency there. They've got a lot of the defensive mindset that's still there. They've also won a national championship in the last couple of years. So to me, that's what gives me the edge there. I honestly think there's such a fine gap between these two teams. I think Oregon probably has the best overall team, but Ohio State has the more consistency and the ability to be able to get to the finish line because that's what they've done. So it's 1A, 1B in my opinion. You could rank Oregon and I wouldn't be upset at number 1. But at the same time, I think I'm going to go with the team that has had more success recently, even though Oregon is definitely right there with them.
We had on Tim Brando the other day, and he was saying he didn't think it was going to go well for Michigan. And then we had the beat writer for the Detroit News who's been doing it since 1992, so she certainly knows what she's talking about. And she was looking at possibly as an 8-4. You've got the Wolverines at 17, and obviously they've become somewhat of a local story with all the connections. We know all that. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think, fair or unfair, the season is going to ride on Bryce Underwood. And I don't know that what we've heard from camp / what we saw last year is a huge indicator that they're going to have a ton of success. Now, with that said, I think they have a lot of great talent coming back. Kyle obviously is a great head coach and he can maximize a lot of that talent, but we're going to have to see it all come together, right? Like I think Michigan has all the capabilities in the world to be a top 25 team, top 15 team, win a national championship like we saw a few years ago, but it's all got to come together. And so for that reason, I'm not so high on Michigan in the sense that I think they can do it like some of these other teams. I really do think it just comes down to Bryce Underwood. And, I don't know that that's fair, but I think if they can't get a great, passing game or a great, consistency in quarterback, that's going to be a really tough situation. And quite honestly, years of experience watching Kyle operate with his quarterbacks, I don't know that he's going to necessarily take that next step, right? Like Kyle had good quarterbacks, but there wasn't this huge glow up, so to speak, from one year to the next. And I think that's going to be the same thing with Bryce Underwood. I don't know that there's going to be this huge glow up. Now, with that said, Jason Beck is a solid offensive coordinator. You obviously saw what he did with Devon Dampier, but I don't even know that Bryce Underwood is to Devon Dampier's level yet, simply because he hasn't proven it. Now, right. 5-star talent, right?
Yeah.
There's potential there, but I don't know that he's lived up to that billing yet.
No, not yet.
Can they get away with him not throwing the ball much because he's such a brilliant runner? Or does that just make him too one-dimensional?
I feel like that makes him too one-dimensional, right? Like we've seen this time and time again under a Kyle Whittingham system where when you become too one-dimensional, it may work for a bit, but it becomes a challenge. Now with you say that, and then I can sit here and say Utah, broke an all-time record of rushing. And so they were more one-dimensional, but I think they had enough variance in there that they could do it. But I think it becomes so much more harder to do that. And if they can't figure that out, I don't know that it's going to go well for them.
I think part of the strength of the Big 12 is when you get down to teams 6, 7, maybe 8. I don't know how far you want to go, but you can make a point that there's some pretty decent teams in the middle of the league, and we already talked about how you've got 4 ranked, and then you also have in your consideration, now you just have it alphabetically, you have the Cats, who you've already mentioned, the Sun Devils, and Kansas State and TCU. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. So you're looking, there you go. So you got basically half the league, which do you feel like could at least deserve consideration. I really think that that's the strength of the league, and I think that you're reflecting in that in your poll. Give us your thoughts as far as including these other teams and the strength of the league being actually in its depth, where you can consider half the teams then to possibly be ranked and at least be in contention as we get into late October and November.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a strength in the sense that there is a lot of teams that can vie for those spots, right? But I think as part of that, it becomes a challenge in terms of being able to have one dominant team where the national media can focus on, right? The Big 12 is not going to get the same spotlight that the Big 10 and the SEC are going to get. And so when you have a lot of these teams beating each other up, I think it just kind of dilutes that market, and it doesn't help national perspective on what the Big 12 can be. That's why a Texas Tech, a BYU, a Utah emerging as the dominant team year over year is going to help this conference. And I know that's not easy. And even Brett Yormark admitted that 2 years ago in his media days, address. He sees that there has to be some sort of emergence from one of these teams to make it work. So, whether it's Arizona, Arizona State, Kansas State, or TCU in that mix, that's great for the conference in terms of parity and trying to be able to make a great conference where you can't guarantee wins, but at the same time, you're never going to be able to compete with these top programs because they're never going to look at you that way, because any given week, all of a sudden Arizona goes and beats BYU this week. That's not a great system. It's fun football, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's not great for the landscape of the Big 12 because they've got to try to vie for every little spot that they can. And that's why I think you saw BYU not make it into the playoffs last year, is because there's just so much parity there where it was easier to say, well, this conference, it can go any one of two ways. Plus, they lost to Texas Tech twice, in that season. There was no differentiator there, and so it's easy for them to overlook the Big 12.
You hedged your bets there with Houston. Are you just scared that it was so many close wins last year that just the law of averages has just got to bite them?
I think so. I mean, like I said, I've got them at 25. I don't know that that's probably going to be sustained. I think a team like Arizona is probably better suited to get there, but I think Houston felt like a really good team at the end of the season. They're still holding over a lot of the same roster that it can get there. But if there's a team of that forward to kind of drop back, I honestly think it could be Houston. I don't trust Kansas State fully. So to me, it's Arizona State. Arizona State, I know PK loves his alum, but I don't know that there's too many questions there, right? I don't know what Arizona State's going to look like. So many transfers. Year, right? Exactly. Like Sam Leavitt last year coming back, there was a lot to believe in Arizona State. I just don't know that we have those same answers here. But I think that group of four right there, group of five, I think there's so many more questions than the three above them. Utah has a ton of questions, but I think there's been more consistency over the last few years to help them that kind of emerges from that other group. So, it could be Houston, like I said, it could be Arizona. It's a coin flip in a lot of respects on who could be that last team in.
So because of the depth, which can work against you as far as the one or two great teams, probably you're looking at only one team from the Big 12 getting in the playoff?
That would be my assumption. I mean, barring two of these teams really kind of separating themselves and just dominating the entire season, which could happen. I mean, Texas Tech has a really weak schedule. BYU and Utah don't have hard schedules. They're biggest differentiator is probably themselves playing each other, I should say. BYU does have to play Notre Dame, so that's a challenge there. But, I think you're going to have two teams that are dominant the entire season and really just kind of blow people away. And even then, it may not work like you saw with BYU last year. So to me, the Big 12 is still a one bid league until they can prove it otherwise. And I think, until that happens, that's always what it's going to be.
Well, I'm going to use my burner account to send you an email right now because I just don't like your
Do
attitude.
it.
You suck, Josh.
I'm the worst. I should be fired. I'm the worst balloter ever. How did they give it to me?
You clearly don't know anything about football.
Nope, none of it.
All right. Well, good luck with all the fun, hate, social media and email and whatever else you get, Josh. And you just do this job for the money, right? I mean, they're paying voters a ton of cash. Not like back in the day when PK had to do it for free.
I got $0.
I'm rolling in cars and watches and everything. You know, they're just loading me.
Yeah, right. All right, Josh. We appreciate it. Thanks. We'll see you up at a practice sometime. All right.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
There's Josh Furlong. He covers the Utes. He's up there for all of Morgan Scalley's press conferences, media availabilities, covering the team. You can follow him at KSLSports.com and the KSL Sports app. You miss those days as a voter?
No.
It was fun. You said you did it, and then you moved on.
You summed it up exactly.
There it is.
Yeah, my exact feelings when I first got to do it and everything was fresh and new. Yeah, it was awesome. But after a while, you're traveling and you got to have the thing up. It's actually easier to do the preseason one because you got all this time.
Right.
But in the season, most of these people are on the road or at home, and football Saturdays for us are long days. And
you have to be doing multiple things at the same time, and you just can't be.
Right. And so you're trying to follow all these teams, and then you got to have it by like 8 o'clock the next morning or something.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're and especially in the West Coast here, or the west part of the United States, we're doing these things, these late games and all this stuff. And it became too much after a while for too little pay, which is zero.
Zero. Yeah.
And so let somebody else have it. So yeah, I had my time doing that stuff and all that. The one thing I have kept is the Wooden, because of my respect for John Wooden.
Right. And it's not the weekly grind in the same way.
No, it's not.
It's a totally different beast.
It's 1,000 times easier. Yeah.
There's Josh Furlong. You can read him and watch him at KSLSports.com. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
News update. This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
We've just gotten a letter from Jeanie Buss's attorney saying that no sale of the remaining 17.8% Buss family shares can be effectuated without the consent of all three of the trustees, okay? That's Jeanie Buss, Joey Buss, and Jeanie Buss. Now, my reporting is 5 of the siblings voted to sell this morning. Jeanie Buss did not vote to sell. And so she's contending through her lawyer that the 5 siblings who voted to sell do not have the right to do that, pursuant to a ruling in 2017 when this was also in court among the trustees. There was a coup that the older brothers tried to dislodge Jeanie from control. And so it's in the hands of the lawyers right now.
No, it's not.
Who's going to run the Lakers? Jeanie Buss wants to, but if she doesn't own enough of the team, she can't, so.
It's in the arms of the angels.
Sing it, baby.
Not the hands of the attorneys. Families squabbling over money. Who
It's
knew?
an old story. It's an old story.
He says twice.
Pass it down to the kids and see if they'll fight over it.
See, that's why it's lucky to have nothing.
You don't have to worry about that.
My sisters and I had no arguments over anything because there was nothing. I got a duffel bag of stuff. I said, "What do you want?" I took a couple things and probably put 20 things in a duffel bag and called it good.
Got some sentimental stuff?
I haven't even looked at it in years, so I don't even know what's in there anymore. I'll look at it one of these days in the winter when I have nothing to do. Real good friends of the family. Their siblings went to war over a house down at the Jersey Shore. It just nasty. That's all this is. She got rid of them, and then now this is their payback, and away you go. It's sad, but it's true.
Predictable. Not all that surprising.
Yeah.
Two of the Buss brothers have bought in. The Padres are just sold. We'll get to that, and they're in as minority investors in that. So they're staying in sports, but they're switching sports and switching towns.
And do all of them have the same mother too? That might have a factor into it.
No, they do not.
Yeah. See,
the last time it was in court,
my father was a playboy, but he was always very protective.
Oh. You need to stop with that.
What?
Your sisters will take you out.
Yeah, but I'll have to pay for it.
Lots of drama in Los Angeles. Well, that's going on with who owns the Lakers. We know who owns the Clippers. The question is, what did he know and when did he know it? The NBA says there's no evidence Ballmer funneled money to Leonard via sponsors. That's what ESPN is reporting. Also reporting the NBA thinks ESPN reporting is lousy. Pablo Torre didn't have all the facts.
I have no idea. I couldn't care less about this story.
About cap circumvention?
Nope.
Whether they're cheating to bring in players. There's all kinds of allegations out there.
What good did it do?
It didn't do much good at all.
So why would I care?
Yeah. Well, maybe it got him enough respect and enough money and a building full enough that he could go build an arena.
Ballmer?
Yeah. But Ballmer's got so much money. Could have built the arena anyway.
Sure. And why would the average fan care about this? I don't understand. I saw the headlines. I haven't opened up one story about it. I'm a sports fan. I'm not going to let those things get in the way of my fandom because it's the one thing in life where I can have fun with. I'm not going to worry about it. Whatever they decide, who cares?
Portland City Council approves Moda Center renovation money. Will Tom Dundon sign a new lease? And San Antonio rejects proposed funding for a new Spurs arena. That arena's 20 years old now. Arenas in ownership. The NBA in August. There you go. DJ and PK.
#NFL.
As far as the blue tent, I really respect the rules and the thought behind NFL has of keeping players healthy and reviewing things, but at the same time, I'm still puzzled by it just feeling like every time that I get hit, I find my way in there.
That's Jackson Dart, former Corner Canyon quarterback, now with the Giants. And it seemed, listening to the ex-players, their advice to him is get up off the field faster and then the league won't look at you. But if you lay on the ground too long, you're going to think you're hurt and you're going to go to the blue tent. So get up faster.
What's the big deal?
He doesn't want to be labeled the guy who's constantly injured.
Yeah, but if you are able to play, they're going to play you.
Yes, but when you have to go to the blue tent, you miss stuff. So
why? What do you mean? How much? There's some rule. If you go to the blue tent, you automatically miss a series, or what?
No, I think it's just the luck of the draw. I mean, if you go to the blue tent on third down and it's punt and the defense is out there, you don't necessarily miss anything. But if it's first down, you're going to miss at least 2 plays, maybe more, depending on how fast you get in and out of there, how long the drive goes. Well, it won't go on long enough.
Call second timeout. I mean, how long is it?
Burn all your timeouts. Depends on the doctors, how fast they move. I don't think it's the same for every injury.
Do you have to wait and check in, and you have to stand like 10 feet behind because of HIPAA laws? I mean, well, get him in. If you're not hurt, who cares?
He does. He doesn't like going to the blue tent, even when he's not hurt.
And I'm asking him, why do you care? If you're not hurt, then you go to. It's like taking my car through the drive-through washer. I just, and then I'm out. If you're not hurt, what difference does it make?
Puka Nacua is hurt. The Rams are not looking to rush him back. Myles Garrett also hurt. I think it's Garrett with the knee and Puka with the back. So no rush on those guys here as we move through preseason. Keenan Allen signs a 1-year deal with the Colts. He's been bouncing around a little bit after a long time with the Chargers. He went away, went back, left again. Now he's going to the Colts for a year. Jordan Tyson, Saints rookie out of Arizona State, could miss 2 months with a hamstring injury. There's a guy who's had more than his fair share of injuries, PK. Didn't he have 2 years impacted by injuries at ASU?
So there's a certain amount of injuries that you can have that are fair?
Yeah. And 1.32.
Okay.
1.32 injuries is the average.
So then beyond that, you can complain?
Too much, too many.
He missed a whole season. He transferred over from Colorado, and then last year was injury-plagued, and unfortunately he's right back at it.
Yep. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Oregon should be number one. Let me just go ahead and get that off my chest. I think Ohio State is looking at a troublesome second game of the year, but that's not how you make this. You should pick what you think are the best teams. I also think Notre Dame ought to be higher. I love what Marcus Freeman has right now, and I just think they're getting a little bit of disrespect at the number 4 position. They could be easily number one. I know that's the second number one team, but I think Oregon and Notre Dame are the best 2 teams. I also think they got the SEC teams out of order. Texas, to me, is better than Georgia. There are a lot of other SEC teams in there, which, again, is indicative of where the league is respected. It may not be number one, but it's still highly respected.
Paul Feinbaum had to get that in there. They've got 5 of the top 10 teams and 9 of the top 25.
The worst it could be is number 4.
Yeah. He also had Oklahoma. He thought Oklahoma was too high at number 10. So the AP college football poll is out. People talking about that. It looked a lot like the coaches poll. But it's something new. BYU 15th and 1, right behind USC. Tied with USC for 14 in the other. The Utes 21. A lot of similarities.
Do you know which college football teams had the most arrests since 2000? 26 years.
Trivia time. College football team with the most arrests. Since what year?
2000.
I'll go with Florida over Georgia. Florida 1, Georgia 2. Who is it?
Florida is 1.
Nice. Got that right.
Georgia's 10.
Oh, okay.
I saw a thing yesterday. Most arrests. That's what we got here. Miami is second. According to this thing I saw on social media, Florida has 539 arrests since 2000. And Miami has, at second place, 454. And then the only team not in the Southeast is Ohio State.
And the other 9 are SEC or ACC teams from the Southeast part of the country.
Ohio State's had 389.
Are they all Power 4 teams?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
You don't
rattle off the list. You got
don't
it.
recruit that type of athlete in the other schools.
App State's clean.
I don't even know where App State is.
It's in
the Appalachian Mountains somewhere.
See?
I don't even know where the Appalachian Mountains are. I know it's Smoky Mountains.
They're in Tennessee.
Just when I thought he'd fall in love with Tennessee.
Yeah.
That song is now like 1 week away from the all-time record.
So give us the top 10 if you got the list.
I already gave you number 1, didn't I?
You did. It's Florida 1, Miami 2, Georgia 10. Who's in between?
Florida State,
okay.
Alabama, I gave you Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, Tennessee. Just when I thought he'd fall in love with Tennessee. Auburn 9, which is pretty weak. They could do better than that. And Georgia is 10.
There it is. Heisman, new rules. Fans get some of the vote now. They're going to have a fan voting platform. So how about that?
Oh, man, if they have an Asian player there, he's going to win.
Oh, shades of Yao Ming dominating the All-Star voting. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Crow Armstrong, it's a high fly ball, deep right. Going back, Montgomery, he looks up. Cubs walk it off. Pete Crow Armstrong ends the game the way he started it, with a home run to right. And the Cubs beat the White Sox 7-5 in 10. Crow Armstrong joins the 30-30 club.
Ground ball by the third baseman.
Stevenson, here he comes. They're going to wave him. Here's the throw, not nearly in time, and the Reds will walk off the Cardinals. A base hit by Ellie De La Cruz, and the Reds will win it here in 10. 6-5 is the score.
First walk-off hit for Ellie De La Cruz in his career. I was surprised to read that. Would have assumed by now he's been a good enough player for long enough he'd have had one. But he got one yesterday.
Does that indicate your talent? Or you're playing at home and there's a runner on base and the score's tied?
Well, that's a factor.
I think it's a
you
critical.
could be down one. You could be down one and knock in two.
Or you could be down
down two and hit a 3-run homer. And he's done none of those things until yesterday.
You know, he's the captain, and you guys make a great pair. Alex is the captain, and you're obvious. So I work with Captain Obvious.
Cardinals and Reds split a doubleheader. Cardinals won the first one 2-1.
Well, see, if you're down by one, I had no idea.
Well, you only threw out one scenario, and there was more.
And you thought people didn't know that?
Just in case.
Where would we be without you?
Woo!
Which direction is the sunrise again?
It's over there in an easterly sort of fashion. Yeah. Dodgers offense breaks out. Shohei Ohtani goes deep, like Pete Crow Armstrong, goes deep twice. Dodgers beat the Rockies 11-5.
Yeah, well, those are the two MVP candidates. So
they are.
He had to keep up.
He did.
Thankfully, Colorado obliged, as they usually do.
Ohtani saying they're taking the comeback slow, but he's on track to pitch a little more.
Yeah, you get there fast and you take it slow.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see him on the mound in September. But he's on the comeback trail. You got a favorite there? If you had a vote, Shohei or PCA?
If PCA is close, I go with him because he plays the field.
30-30 has got to be close, right? It's been a big part of them getting back in the playoff race, so that ought to give them some points with voters.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not based some random stat.
Which stat is random?
30 stolen bases. I mean, how do I know that they contributed to anything? Did he score? Was it then able to get a ground out to the right side where he can go to third and a sac fly? I mean, I may have said this a time or two. I do not take all stats at face value.
Nonetheless, Shohei with his 50-50 season, that got him an MVP, and we'll see where Pete Crow
think if he had
Armstrong
50 and
ends
2
up.
stolen bases, he would have gotten
the MVP.
That's my opinion. I may be wrong, though.
Padres ran themselves out of the game. Mets win 2-1. 3 runners thrown out at home plate for the Padres. And Ketel Marte on a restricted list didn't show up for the game.
They're done.
That's it? That's going to break them?
Yeah.
Major distraction?
Because it's the second time he's done that in 2 years. He didn't show up on the Friday after the All-Star game last year. And now he didn't show up to yesterday. And he didn't. You can't do that. I mean, if you can't come, you just don't show up. You don't not show up. So, yeah.
Red Sox beat the Diamondbacks 11-1.
Right. And so that was the story before the game, and then they lost 11-1.
Right. Run on 4 hits while the Red Sox are knocking out 16 hits. There was no fluke about it. One team was rolling, and the other team clearly distracted. DJ and PK.
Hashtag BYU.
Cougars tied for 14th in the preseason AP Top 25, and the other news with BYU is they're moving up their game against Oregon State to week 0.
Well, that's going to be week
2027. Yes.
So we can. I always thought it was so stupid to say week 0. If games are being played, that's the first week of the season, and the number first is closely aligned with the number 1.
Give themselves a bye later in the year. Oregon State, Weber State, and Notre Dame, whenever that game ends up getting played. That'll be their non-conference schedule. But Oregon State, August 28th. Look forward to that. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah.
You're getting into kind of the dog days of fall camp. You know, it's easy to have energy on day one, easy to be excited on day one. It's having that same energy throughout. Really good practice today, competitive. We're becoming better, situational mechanics. It's good that it's competitive right now, that you don't have one side dominating the other. I think the coaches are doing a good job of keeping our guys fresh, but understanding we got to be physical. It's just continued progress. There's not one glaring thing where I'm sitting there saying, like, we're deficient here. It's just maybe a little bit cleaner in the things that we're doing, from protection to taking on slanters. And they've got one of the best teachers I know in Jordan Gross. So I'm excited for that group and what they're going to show that first game.
Morgan Scalley on what's happening up on the hill. Fall camp, couple weeks in. Offensive line combinations remain open. O-line, starting five, unsettled at this point. And the D-line, still trying to sort out the defensive tackle rotation.
I think accepting maybe a root canal, there's very few things that Morgan Scalley's not excited about. That's just who he is.
So you got a short list and root canals at the top of it.
Randomly picked.
Sure.
I've never had one, so I don't know, but it doesn't sound good.
Everybody who has one says it's horrific, so yeah.
Knock on wood. Bring your head over here. And, yeah, he's right. Now, they started practice 2 weeks ago yesterday, and the practice is at 4 weeks, the fall camp, which is right in the dead of summer. I'm really looking forward to Christmas this spring. Makes no sense to call it fall camp in August, but now you're just going. It's not like you're going through the motions.
That's what he's fighting against.
What you're trying to do is stay healthy and continue to progress, and then the season starts. So these last 2 weeks might as well be 2 months to these guys, and it's every year, unless you have some intense quarterback battle. And there's always going to be some positions. And even if you're all set on all 22, then the next 22 is going to have competition. It's never not competition to some degree. But obviously, quarterback is a big, big deal. Like the Sun Devils got a quarterback battle, and he's talking about, hey, we're not even at a fall camp yet, so I'm not going to name a starter. I don't blame him. Keep it going. Keep the guys intense and all that stuff, and give the team more opportunity to see that player XYZ is the guy. But they don't have that. Neither program has that. And really, for Utah State doesn't have it either, for that matter. So it is managing the fatigue of it, the mental fatigue, and then making sure you limit injuries as much as possible while still hitting, because it's always tricky, because you have to hit. You cannot wait until the first game. Even if you play a cream puff, which they all do, you cannot not hit. So everybody wants these next 2 weeks to go by fast. It's like high school. Coach, when I was coaching high school baseball, he said, I hate the first week. I hate it so bad. Because it's tryouts. It's not quite a week. But you gotta give them, you can't just have 1 day of tryouts.
Mm-hmm.
All the kids who get cut, their parents will flood the office, right? But you got to get through that. It's the same thing here. You just have to do it. Something we've all been in situations in life, something we have to do, we don't want to do, but we understand it and we do it. And then when it's over, we go, whew, glad that's over. And that's where we are.
DJ and PK.
#golf.
The Live Golf League has canceled the tournament in Michigan later this month, so this weekend's tournament outside of Indianapolis will be the final event of the season. John Rahm's already clinched the individual season title.
And that bugs me because I was going.
You had family to stay with. It was just a natural.
Yeah. In Michigan, it's like a second home to me.
12 events this year, smallest schedule for Live since it was launched. They postponed New Orleans. They have canceled Michigan. Feels like it's coming to an end, although they're talking bravely about reorganizing, and it'll be reimagined and sustainable model owned by the players. So
they tried it.
Pull that off.
It didn't really work. I mean, it's cool that they can wear shorts and you have music. All right, I'm over that.
They went to places that didn't have PGA Tour stops in some cases.
And that was fun for those folks.
Yep.
But I don't think the general public really latched on because there was nothing there. Golf is another sport like baseball where history is right there in your face right now. Because they had a thing just 2 days ago. Scotty Scheffler, youngest to win X amount of tournaments at your age, right? And Tiger is there, and I think it's 20 tournaments or something like. I saw that. I have to go look it up. And well, the LIV has nothing like that.
Right.
It's
and
just
the PGA's playing famous courses, and LIV's playing, and you don't know anything about it, and
there's no history, and golf is a history sport.
That tradition pays off big time.
Bobby Jones, Sam Snead. I don't even know what those guys' records that they hold, but I know they hold some. And I know it's for folks that are really into that, it really, really matters. And all that stuff. And the LIV just doesn't have it. It has money, and these guys got obscenely rich, and good for them. But beyond that, to me, I describe LIV golf as the last week of spring training. Okay, we're done with one at bat and then go golf the afternoon. No. You're playing 6-7 innings or so because the season starts next week. So it counts, but it really doesn't count.
And that's LIV.
Yeah.
A few recognizable names, a bunch of names that aren't. Of course, you don't recognize, no history and tradition to cash in on.
No, I watched some, but it was usually when I stumbled upon it because if you're an adult male and you have a remote in your hand, you must flick.
And it goes back to what you said about Ketel Marty. You got to show up. And to only play 14 events, we didn't even know when they were playing.
No, every time I watched one, it's just because I happened to stumble upon it. And I can remember one night in, I think it was the spring, and that Anthony Kim, who had some issues, I think that's his name, and was on the American, was an American, and then had, I don't know, substance abuse or whatever, I forget what they were. And then he won a tournament, and it was like his big comeback. And, and it was a Saturday night, and so it was to have been Sunday, wherever else it was. Right? It was somewhere that...
Yeah.
And I did watch that. It's like 11 o'clock at night, and I got caught up into it. But I had no idea until whatever I was watching was basketball or whatever was over, and I didn't want to go to bed yet. And I started flicking around, and I saw that, and I did watch that. But that's it. That's the only one.
Well, you don't know if they're playing that week, and you don't know what network they're on, and if it's going to end on Saturday night or if it's going to end on Sunday. It gets hard to build the habit. So... I think we all expect it goes away here, but we'll see if they have one more year with some other look.
And there are strong reports that Rahm has already defected.
He's coming back to the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
All right, DJ PK, that's what's trending. Segment sponsored by Shamrock Plumbing. No job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. All right, question of the day is coming up next. Stay with us.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK, it is time for the question of the morning. Hot takes or toast. Any concern that all this Kalani Sitake versus Brian Santiago stuff is a distraction that could sidetrack the team? Is it going to impact the field? I think the answer to that is probably not, because I think this is so far above the players. You know, if it were a coach and a coordinator having a beef, or a coordinator and a position coach, I think that'd be more in their realm. But I suppose there is a chance that Kalani, is he distracted this year? I don't think so, but any concern? I guess you could have a little bit of concern over that.
Well, if he's distracted, then the team is distracted.
Then that matters, right? That matters.
Jeff Kurtz thinks it is.
What does Jeff say?
Oh, excuse me, John Kurtz.
What does John say?
Now, he's somebody who is somebody in the Big 12. The Kalani Sitake situation at BYU has reached the point where the distraction itself is becoming a problem. How about that? That's from Johnny Kurtz.
All right. Johnny's worried.
He's got 34,000 followers on Twitter.
Woo.
That means you're somebody.
See?
It do, don't it?
Joshua says he just signed a contract extension. How long is he under contract for? And is there a clause in the contract that he can leave or terminate for another program?
Of course. Then they have a buyout. Every one of them. Where are you every November and December?
Bang.
Who is that?
That was Joshua.
Come on, Joshua.
And Brandon adds, if he can prove breach of contract, well, then he could leave.
He could leave today if he wanted. They leave all the time.
They do. They do. There's no ironclad coaching contracts. There's always a way out.
There's no jobs open right now, so there's nothing to worry about.
Katie, I could see Kalani moving on if he doesn't get the support he was promised.
See, that in and of itself is a cloud over the program.
The thought that they could be right back where they were last December, except this time it's so much more public. That could be kept quiet. It kind of snuck up on everybody, but now this is so public, everybody will be looking for it. Be much harder to keep it as quiet in 26 as it was in 25.
Yeah.
Craig's very positive, though. Nope. It's all business in Provo. Going to be a great season. Craig's not hearing it. They're going to roll. They are, 15-3 in conference the last 2 years? Mm-hmm. I can see why Craig has that level of confidence. Let's see. Is Craig a fan?
Of course. I mean, under my definition of fandom, there's plenty of Ute fans who are BYU fans.
There are, and there are people here commenting who are Utes.
Because I don't think my definition of fandom is not that I root for a team; it's that I follow a team.
Ryan says, full transparency. I'm a hardcore Ute fan. You don't want any outside noise or distraction when you're getting ready for the season. Something's clearly up, and I guess they'll get it fixed. And if they don't, that's a bigger issue than this rift to begin with.
Well, if the problem isn't solved, then the problem becomes bigger.
Right.
And he's not backing down. And that's his right. It is a little surprising the timing in which he chose to air his grievances. I mean, he has every right to do whatever he wants, but I was a little surprised by it, right? Why now?
Why not a month or two earlier?
Yeah.
Get started on it earlier.
When it was dead.
Yeah.
I guess he hasn't been doing any interviews at that point, but all he had to do was call up Buzz and say, hey, I want to come on, and everybody's going to say absolutely yes.
Yes.
So he could have done it, and he chose their media golf tournament time to do it. Every right to do what he wants to do. That was before training camp. But it certainly has been the story of BYU sports for 2 weeks now.
Yep.
And obviously, I realize some of the women's soccer has started and all, but football hasn't, and so we don't have any games. The good thing for them is that Monday after week 1, then we got something because the Arizona Wildcats are looming, and they're a good ball club, and they can come in here and win that game if you don't play well. And they know it. Everybody knows it.
Right. But if BYU goes out and wins a game and Arizona doesn't do that, then the hype, hey, presumably 2-0, 1-0 in conference, and you start looking around at how good this could get. Either way, the game takes over, win or lose.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's devastating if they lose, though. I mean, we still have 8 conference games to go. You're probably going to be favored in 7 of them. Maybe not the Utah game, so you still have plenty of time to make up for that loss. So if it happens, it's not the end of the world by any stretch. And same thing, if they win, they haven't clinched anything. You have to see how it plays out a little bit. But I think that if they lose, then people are going to go back to this. Well, yeah, they're not focused, man.
Mm-hmm.
This dark cloud that's hanging over the program is now seeping into the team. Yeah, and then at that point, there's going to be all sorts of attention heaped on Brian Santiago, even more so than Kalani, because Kalani has the sympathy vote now. If you were going to do the court of public opinion and ask which way do you side, 90-some% are going to side with Kalani. It's just a fact. They're going to side with him. There's no doubt in my mind.
Not in mine either. I think you're spot on.
Yeah.
I think it's overwhelming that winning the games he's won, doing the interviews he's done, having all the people talk about him the way they talk about him, yes.
And not to defend BYU, because I don't know all the particulars, nor do I want to. But who's to say if his wish list, everything was checked off, that you win? That doesn't guarantee winning.
That's true, but if they agreed to the wish list and it's in the contract, I get his frustration. Which we haven't seen the contract and we weren't in negotiations, but that's what we've been told.
So
that's what's been presented.
You think they've blatantly said, no, we're going to ignore something that we've agreed upon?
That seems to be the case that multiple people around Kalani are making. Yes, that it's that bad. And that's why he's that hot, and that's why he's gone public. Because it is that bad.
Yeah, but I'm not going to put it on other people, and then this way I can get away with it. Well, they said it, so don't come at me if it's not true.
Well, we don't get to see the contracts.
Well,
we're not
the
in
other people
negotiations.
did? Those people that you say...
Yes.
That,
I don't know that they've seen the contract. They know what Kalani says about seeing the contract.
We all know what he's saying.
Okay.
How's that change anything? But I can't report that they're not honoring contract just because somebody else reported it.
Well, so that leaves that Kalani's just making this up? I mean, those
are the two choices.
That seems to be the two choices, yes. That's the sticking point.
Yeah. They could be honoring it, but he thinks they're not honoring it enough. We're going to give you X amount of money for this. I can't say that that's it, and I'm not going to say it is it just because somebody else inferred it is. That's not journalism on my behalf. There's no way I can do that. I can't come on here and say, well, yeah.
That leaves that Kalani's making stuff up.
If that's what you think.
What are the two options? I don't get it. I don't see a third option.
BYU, now this is completely hypothetical, that they feel like we have honored it, but he wants it honored more. That's an option. That could be an option. I don't know if it is or it isn't, but you ask me what could be, that could be. There could be a sticking point. If it's not a finite dollar figure, we'll provide more support for ABCD, and they've provided more support, but he's over here saying, well, that's not enough support. That could be it. I don't know. I'm speculating. That's what I'm saying. I'll report on stuff that I know is true, but I won't report just because somebody else says it, and then if they're wrong, well, I'm wrong too if I presented it as if it were a fact. I don't take my responsibility and dump it on somebody else. No, I have to be very careful with what I say. And I say, I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I don't know that they've seen it either. Who's seen the contract outside of his agent and himself, and his father is always there? I don't know. So I can't say specifically what it is, and I don't necessarily know that it boils down to either or.
Tyson isn't sure it's going to blow up, but he says it sure provides an excuse for when they do go 7-5 this year. Tyson wants it to blow up.
Yeah.
Built-in excuse.
See, he's a fan. He doesn't know it, but he's a BYU fan, under my definition.
He doesn't know it, but under your definition he is.
Yeah.
Because, see, some people make it more clear than others.
Mm-hmm. If you follow the team, you are a fan of that team.
There's 9 photos on his Facebook page, and 4 of them are the Ute logo. 1 is the Jazz logo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's following it.
If the second team you know most about is BYU, then you follow them. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't define fandom by whether I want a team to win or lose. I define fandom as how much attention I give to it.
Tyler says this year's team, he says this probably isn't going to matter because everything's in place. Future teams, oh, yeah, this could have a negative impact.
Yeah, maybe that's the exact line of thinking. Maybe this team is too far along, and
it looks like it's in a pretty good place, and we'll end up in a pretty good place.
Too many starters returning, and blah 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 blah. And then there's also, Majerus used to have this to an extent, that I'll show you. You bug me so much that I'll show you. And there could be some circle the wagons type of attitude amongst the team and the coaches. We'll show the administration. And we've anointed Santiago as the bad guy in this situation here. So he has to bear the brunt, and the fire Santiago stuff is out there and all that stuff. So he's become the flashpoint of your anger is directed at him. Well, that could actually galvanize the team. Because I had one time a player was waiting for me at the hotel in Colorado when I was covering the Utes just to blow off steam because he was so sick of this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I'll show you. So Majerus coached in that way, and obviously he got the results. I remember one guy told me, I wish he would just coach us during the week and then not go to the games and let Donnie coach the games. Yeah. But his methods worked. Whether they were good or not, you can argue, but they did work. And they won a lot of ball games at high levels, obviously. So there could be some of that thing. Well, we'll just circle the wagons and away we'll go.
The common enemy, and it gives you something to put a chip on your shoulder and fire you up.
Yeah. So
provide energy when you're down.
That's always out there.
But the long-term impacts could be negative.
Well, eventually the Utah basketball program crashed and burned.
Mm-hmm.
Which was the way it was always going to end. It was never going to end anything but messy. And I know fans like to think otherwise, but it was. It was always going to end sour. And it did.
And Tyler says this could have future teams, this could have a negative impact.
Well, obviously, if he left, that would be a significant impact.
If he left, if there's not enough money to retain players or whatever, yeah.
Well, they went through, and, I had some conversations with guys doing that stuff about, spreading the money around and how they managed it, and they feel like they did a good job because very few players left. And they did, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's just, and that's where Kalani has articulated to where you have to lean into the lovable culture and that you want to be here because, you want to go chase money. I mean, Sam Levitt decided he wanted to chase money. See ya. Bye-bye now. And we'll just move on, and then we'll see how they do without him. And we'll see what LSU does with him. A lot of pressure on him now. I hope for his sake that it was worth it. Not sure that it would be, because you're going to get, you're going to get the money. If you're good enough in the pros, you're going to get the money. And then, where's your legacy? You don't really have one. You bounced around to 3 different schools in 4 years. What are you about? Well, you're about yourself and your bankroll. And you have every right to be that way. And Kalani has guys that didn't want to do that. And that means that he's built something. And I can tell you multiple coaches had opportunities to leave, and they chose to stay. And the number one reason they chose to stay, out of their mouths, this is their mouth to my ears.
Working for Kalani.
Yes. Multiple.
That over and over.
Yeah. So it's not just if you lost him, you would lose a significant chunk of the staff.
All right, DJ and PK, it's break time, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jason, a guest in the 8 o'clock hour, working on it. It's first test for the captain, huh? Day 2, juggling.
Well, I wish him luck, man, because this will be a black mark upon his start.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. We're watching closely. Make it happen. Larry the Laker coming up at 9 o'clock. All sorts of rumors and speculation and
disarray.
Disarray, yes. And people are saying it's not going to impact the Dodgers, but there's plenty of people who believe it will impact the Dodgers. Of course, a lot of people hate the Dodgers and just want it to impact the Dodgers. Try to sort all that out at 9 o'clock. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The AP Top 25 came out. Did you look at it and just think it looks so much like the coaches poll, ho-hum, and just move on? Anything stick with you from this? Anything impress you or intrigue you or make you say,
What did it possibly make me say?
It looks so much like the coaches poll. I got to say it was a letdown.
Really?
Ohio State's 1 in both. Oregon's 2 in both. Georgia's 3. It's usually like that, but you still hope there's something. There's some nugget, and I really just didn't. They flip-flopped Texas and Notre Dame at 4 and 5. Couldn't get into that. And we had Feinbaum quote earlier. Well, they got the wrong SEC team up top. Texas is better than Georgia, and Georgia's in the media poll. Georgia's 3 and Texas is 5.
Yeah, but all that stuff is on paper right now.
I know.
And so even if you're better, doesn't mean you'll win. We see that all the time. There's plenty of games that will happen this year in college football in which the better team does not win for whatever the
better team on
circumstances.
paper, right, takes the L.
Yeah. And that's what's great about the sport. I suppose it would be, and this is crazy, the continued disrespect of Indiana.
Indiana's 6 in the media poll and in the coaches poll. Now, they did get first-place votes. They got 8 of them. I guess if there's one thing
Which means there's even more disrespect in my mind because they did get 8 votes.
What are the rest of you doing? How did you get 8 first-place votes and still end up in 6th?
Right.
Somebody must have been putting you at 10 or 12 or
That's
a bunch
what I'm
of
saying.
You. Yeah.
Right. So in my mind, and that's why I said that, is because they did get those. They got more first-place votes than Notre Dame, but yet Notre Dame is higher, which means that a lot of folks would have had to disrespect Indiana and put them down, as you said, in the double-digit category, and that surprises me.
I think the thing that stuck with me most was there wasn't a single vote in the AP Top 25, a single first-place vote for anybody in the SEC. Ohio State got 40, Oregon got 14, Indiana got 8, the Big Ten got most of them. There were 6 votes for Notre Dame, and 1 person put Miami number 1. Nothing for the SEC.
Well, who would you vote over them?
I would assume somebody would have said Georgia or Texas would win the national title. In the coaches poll, they did. Those 2 teams both got first-place votes in the coaches poll. It's not that I thought they'd end up at number 1, but I thought that out of 60-whatever voters, looks like it's 69 people voted, that somebody would have picked him, and not a single person picked an SEC team. So I guess that, like you said, it doesn't matter. It's on paper, and we don't know who's going to improve and who's going to be healthy when we get to December and January. So that may just be on paper. But nonetheless, after a couple decades of the SEC dominating, now the Big Ten's had the last 3 champions, and nobody wanted to predict that streak would be broken.
That's old news.
Yeah.
Again, there's no point. You continue to go back. You can only go back 3 years. So anytime you go back a 4th or more, you tune everybody out. Nobody buys it.
So did you expect an SEC team to get a first-place vote? One SEC team
I hadn't
to
even
get one
thought
vote.
about it, honestly. To tell you the truth, I can't say I thought one way or the other. But I do know that describing what happened before NIL is useless and a waste of time. You have to go back only 3 years.
And the world changed.
Yes.
At least the college football recruiting world. Transfer portal and big mounds of cash.
Right. And so that's when this current iteration begins. So you wipe out 60, 70 years of history because it's still in its toddler stage. And the toddler stage has showed us that the money is in the Big Ten. Okay, I accept it.
The Big 12 got handled almost exactly the same in this poll as the coaches poll. Tech was 12 in the coaches poll. Tech's 12 in the media poll. BYU was 15 in the coaches poll. They're tied for 14th with USC in the media poll. Utah's 21 in both. Houston was 24 in the coaches poll. They're 23 in the AP Top 25. So pretty close to a carbon copy right there.
Okay.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
And the G5 completely shut out of the media poll. I did notice that. Boise State got the most, but there are others receiving votes behind Clemson, Florida, and then Boise State.
Well, Boise State is the default move.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to put them in there. And so I understand that. That's Boise State is you're good until you show you're not. You're going to get the benefit of the doubt as far as being good. And we'll see what happens in the new Pac-12 if that comes to pass and they are the dominant team again. But I get why you would go there. And it's the same thing why we put Michigan in. Got to put Michigan in.
16 in both polls.
Yeah. I mean,
Can't have a poll without Michigan.
Right.
We'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And for that matter, Penn State with a coaching change and a bunch of new players, 17 in one poll, 18 in the other. Benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. And you're so low that it doesn't really matter. No one's focusing on Penn State. It's just that it used to be top 20. Now we extended it to top 25. And so if you're anything 15 and below, you're sort of just picking stuff out of a hat. You know, when you get to that point, you really have no idea where the separation is. You're just relying on some immediate history and who's got money. Michigan's got money. SMU's got money, right? So they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. And I think Utah being a ranked team for so long at that point,
Getting the benefit of the doubt. Yeah.
And their quarterback's returning. You know, what? And it's not just a returning quarterback, but someone who's good. So you see why they would be included. It's a safe bet to put the Utes in there. No one's going to say, well, as we look at all the folks, they voted this way, that way. No one's going to say, man, why'd you have Utah in there? No. Utah is the most, I've been saying this for a while, disrespected, underrespected, respected team.
Nobody believes in them,
right?
Says the 432nd consecutive person.
Right.
I believe in them, but nobody else does.
They get so much credit for what they've been able to do. That's what's going to be different, not that he cares, but for Kyle at Michigan, is they're not the gritty, hard-nosed, tough, smash-mouth school out in the middle of nowhere anymore.
You're the big dog.
Yeah.
If you're not the big dog, you're supposed to be the big dog.
And he's in so many interviews, they got everything you need. The resources, the academics, the tradition. There's literally nothing that you need that you don't have. You got it all. And that's not his style. His style has been the exact opposite.
The only thing I've heard him say, and this is, Kyle show no weakness, so it was a little bit, he says, well, it's typically the second year it really all comes together. So time. A little bit, not a lot, year two, but nonetheless.
Well, I don't know that that is typically. I mean, again, I don't go back. I'm not going to live from 21 on.
Well, the last 2 years, Indiana, it came together for them in the second year. Good.
Came to that. I think Michigan would take Indiana's first year. I think it came together immediately.
11-2 year one. That's 16-0 year two.
That's coming together in year one. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. In my mind, they came together immediately because they went and got a better quarterback. Did that have anything to do with year two, or they just went and bought a better quarterback? I think year two was irrelevant.
There might be a little more belief. Did they really think year one that they could win it all? They thought they were pretty good, and you wouldn't get where you are. But then year two, they knew it.
You think Fernando knew it? I mean, he wasn't there in year one.
No, he was not.
And he was the number one reason why they won as far as on the field. So if you can get a Fernando Mendoza and he can play like he did last year, you can win in year one or year 25, whichever year you happen to get him. It's all about results. And Michigan is not going to have any patience for that. If they go 11-2, that's another story. I do think most fans are realistic in that, okay, you're not going to win it every year. It just doesn't work that way. But you can still have a really good season. And if you go 11-2, you had a really good season. And so if the Wolverines go 11-2, and plus it's a new coach too, and that's a great starting point. And I would assume at that point that Underwood played well, and he's not eligible for the draft. He's coming back for his third year. Now, that's an assumption that you cannot make these days, They can't. We can. So, yeah, I would think that if Michigan rolled out an 11-2 this year, he might. You never know who overachieved the most ends up being coach of the year, and who knows who's going to overachieve the most? Is it finally going to be USC? Is Lincoln Riley going to do something to justify the bloated coaching contract coming in as on a white horse? And we pulled one over on Oklahoma. So far, you've pulled nothing over on Oklahoma. It's been nothing but mediocre from USC standards.
It has not measured up.
Right.
It did at the start, I guess. That's probably the best part, right? That 11-1. But then, everything fell apart.
What happened?
They got beat in the conference title game. They got beat in the bowl game. And then they had basically a 500 season the next year. And it hasn't really, 11-1, they had some hype. But
that's...
They want to finish the deal
won the
at
game
USC.
in the seventh inning.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go 9.
They want to seal the deal at USC.
And we'll see if they can do it. I have my doubts. I mean, you keep getting these great recruiting classes, blah, 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 blah. Well, okay, great. That's what I was saying about BYU. They can give Kalani everything he wants, but that doesn't mean it's going to translate into actually playing Texas Tech competitive. Sounds good, but I don't know that it does anything.
Might work, but you can't guarantee it.
Exactly, yes.
That's why they play the games. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Your fandom front and center. Next.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah. My favorite. This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Deseret News with a story in the last few days. What local college football team gets the most love in Utah? And they report that it is the University of Utah. 36% of the vote. BYU at 29%, Utah State at 13%. All of the Big Sky schools, Weber State, Southern Utah, and Utah Tech, each got 3%. So did Snow College, for that matter. And 8% say they most closely follow a team that is outside the state. Your Arizona State, your San Diego States.
Carpetbaggers.
Probably some USC fans.
Oh, I don't follow the Devils the closest, but it's not even close. Somebody asked me, well, do you dress up in Sun Devil gear on game day? No. 'Cause I'm not in front of the television on game day. Maybe in the morning. I'm at a stadium. No, I rarely see them play, actually. And thankful that, to my knowledge, these two here far exceed anything down there.
They did mention in the story, for people who thought, well, it's a survey, and, do they survey enough people, and the number's accurate? They reference an earlier survey done by Y2 Analytics for UtahPolicy.com. And in that one, it was 42% for the Utes, 31% for the Cougars, and 8% for the Aggies.
Yeah, well, it depends on where they did the survey. If you did it in Salt Lake County, well, duh.
Right.
How much did you go to Provo? How much did you go in the surrounding areas there? How much did you go up north? How much did you go to Logan and all these little smaller towns throughout the state, which there are a bundle of them? You're talking about Zach Booth, the soccer player born in Eden. I never heard Eden until you mentioned it. There's so many places that I haven't. If I can't see off I-15, I probably haven't been there.
You're not seeing Eden, other side of the mountains.
Where did you survey these people? Because I think that plays a significant factor. In Salt Lake County, I don't think there's any question that it's going to be the Utes.
Yeah. They broke it down by age, and it was just really telling. It goes back to everything that we've said about independence and the Pac-12 and, having Rose Bowls to play for. The Gen Zers, which is people born after, I think it's 97 to 2014. So basically people are 30 years, 30 years old down in their teenage years. They favor.
Well, if you're born in 2014, you're 12.
Yes.
It's not 30.
No, but from 97 to 2012. So if you're born in 97, you're about to turn 30. You're 29.
If you're born in 2012,
Right.
you're
So
about
29 down to the teenage years. Yeah. Okay, 12, not 13. BYU over Utah, 36-27.
Yeah, but where was it taken?
They do not give the
you can
location
stab
of
me to
each
death
one.
here, but the most important stat.
They do not give you the location of each person.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah. They don't break that down for you.
If I go to Hale Theater and stand outside, ain't nobody going to know who I am. But if I go outside and stand by Rice Eccles on game day, there's a bunch of people going to know who I am.
Yep. True story.
If you're
Location
cultured,
matters.
you don't know me. And I'm thankful for that, because if you're cultured, I don't want to know you. I don't go to plays. I don't read books. I have no taste. And I revel and dwell in that.
You have musical taste.
Just when I thought he'd fall in love with Tennessee.
Millennials broke for Utah big time.
What are millennials?
People who are between 30 and 45.
Again, if you keep reading these stats to me, I'm going to take this computer and I'm going to throw it at you.
Did you find it? You posted this story. I thought you found it interesting. If it's not valid because there's no location, well, there was no location when you read it and posted it. I mean, I can't create a location for them.
But doesn't mean you have to read me the stats.
Thought you wanted to talk about this. This is what the story says.
Right. And I've had an epiphany since I posted it.
Okay. Fine.
It's a talking point, but maybe it's all over the place, and it's as legitimate as it comes. And I don't think that it's that wrong either, because that has been one of the coolest things for me to see in my 33 years living here, is the rise of Utah football. And I've told this story. When I first got here, I met with the folks at Utah, and I'm covering basketball right at the start. I wasn't covering football. I was saying, what's going on with this football program? Why? And I know your basketball program, and I've known about it for years and years. How come I know very little about your football program? And why do I know a ton about BYU, although I have never lived a day in this state? Why have they gotten all the publicity? Why have they been so much better? I wanted to find out, because in my mind, when I moved here and I saw the proximity that Salt Lake Airport to the campus,
it didn't make
and
sense.
Everything that around it, they should have been on par with BYU. And I realize there's a religious connection, but Utah can, if they can't benefit to the level of BYU from the religious connection, they certainly can benefit a fair amount, because everybody can't go to the same place. And to watch this program blossom has really been cool. And it's a big-time football program. And so when I saw those numbers now, yeah, I'm fine with it. I will say, based on my travel, there's way more out-of-state BYU fans than there are out-of-state Utah fans. Now, that's my anecdotal vision, because I've traveled with the Utes and I've traveled with the Cougars to all parts of the country. Mm-hmm. And yeah, a lot of it, and I know what you're going to say, that's because the Latter-day Saints are showing up in Florida or Virginia, New York. I've been to there with them. I understand that, yeah. But so what? If that's the reason, that's the reason. But I think out-of-state, there's more of them. And in-state here, particularly in the metro area, from Point of the Mountain northward, I can see that.
State schools, most of their fans are going to be within 50 or 100 miles of campus. That's just the way it works with the public schools. The private schools, they tend to, whether it's religion or service academy, growing up in San Diego, Navy can crank out 10,000 people in a heartbeat. And the academy's on the other side of the country, and it doesn't matter.
Growing up in Phoenix, Ohio State can crank out 20,000.
The upper Midwest schools that are really big, they've got snowbirds everywhere. They've got massive student bodies, tons of grads, so many of them moving. I don't know if you ever went down to Arizona for one of the, because I think you're up here by then, like the Copper Bowl, the old Copper Bowl in Tucson, and I got sent to that. and Wisconsin was playing Utah, man, there had to be 25,000 Wisconsin fans at the game. And there was, stories done about it. And basically, they had their motorhomes, they had their vacation, they were just waiting, and they're out of here.
That could have been
unless they're already there.
That could have been in Detroit, though. I don't think it had anything to do with the location. It's just a number of fans.
They don't like going to Arizona?
If you conclude that that's what I said, something's wrong with you.
They would have packed the Motor City Bowl?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because they're
Are they
loyal,
great?
and that's what they do.
And in that era, they were just coming of age. It was new and exciting, too.
That
They'd been down for a while.
area and the Southeast is freakish about football. There's just no doubt about it. It is everything to them. Yeah, and good for them. And they go wherever the team goes. That I get that. But Utah has really risen to the point where they've demanded to be noticed. And they are noticed. And they're accounted for. And they're aware that, all right, we know that program. And most folks from out of state, I don't think they're much thinking that there's going to be a big drop-off, even with all the change.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's reflected in the polls. Yes.
And I'm looking forward to the next 5 years. I mean, basically, the bulk of the team is what they came to play for Whittingham. And in the case of Dampier, also Jason Beck. But I'm looking down the line that if you were, and hopefully that's the case, but if you were to look, you ask people and look ahead for 5 years, would you see significant change? I think most of the national people would say no. Yeah, who's the guy does the Fox, the ex-quarterback, Joel Klatt. He was always super high on Utah.
Death taxes in Utah football.
Yeah, and I bet you that hasn't changed much in his outlook. And asking him, what are they going to be like in 2030? Well, they're going to be exactly like they are now. They're going to be tough. They're going to be good. They're going to be a factor. They're going to have good seasons. And sometimes they're going to have great seasons. But they're not going to fall off. And I don't think they are. I would agree with those assessments. To what degree are they going to be able to? There was a time there where did they go to 4 in a row conference titles, or there was no
because of the 2020 thing. But basically, it was 4 out of 5, and the one they missed was the one you wanted to miss.
Yeah,
that year.
And way to go! That was a phenomenal run. There's no doubt about it. That was a great one. That was a demand to look at us type of run, and they broke through. If they hadn't have broken through, I think you would too. I think they'd already broken through for us, but that point they really broke through. And then when they won the 2, and they're going to the granddaddy, yeah, they're there. And everybody loves a winner. If they would have taken this poll in 1985. I don't think it
would have been totally different.
Yeah.
Well, regardless of how well it was distributed geographically, the ages are different. And those people who were really coming of age as football fans, when they were 20 years old or whatever, and wherever they're going to spend their money and all that, I mean, they broke hard for the Utes, Now, the younger people are breaking back a little more towards BYU.
Because they're winning
goes
more.
to the winning, yeah. BYU's last 6 years, they've been 2 okay and 4 really good. And so people are coming of age now. I can see why more of them are getting into BYU. And Utah's had a couple of down years. And basically for both these schools now, it's like they're fine unless they have quarterback injuries, and then they had a 5-win season, an 8-win season, whatever. It's remarkable how similar they are.
BYU doesn't ever have to worry about its fan base.
No, it's pretty much wired in now.
Yeah.
After 40 years, you've got, I guess it depends what you count a generation, but if a generation is 20 years, they're two solid generations working on their third generation of hardcore.
Right.
So at this point, there really aren't that many grandparents left who are like, yeah, I remember rooting for BYU, and it was bad for 10 years in a row. That's, right. You got to be.
Their fans are there. and they're going to be loyal to them. And if it's largely due to a religious reason,
no, there you go.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Their money counts just as much as anybody else's.
Does.
Yeah. And they're going to have that connection, and they're going to have that connection on the road. I think that's the number one reason for the Bleep the Mormons. Because they're not used to, wait a second, look at all those people sitting in the northwest side of the stadium, wherever it might be.
Or scattered throughout the stadium because they sell so many tickets.
Right, but both.
Right.
It's just more noticeable in the one section and then scattered throughout. Yeah, and look at the noise they're making when there's a good play. You could feel it as they continue to go in this conference. It's going to not be that big of a deal. Maybe some out-of-the-conference places. But Atlanta, when they played Georgia Tech, and you could hear the number of people when there's good plays. And they go to Boise, it's a big old duh, right? We get that. But these places that they've gone that aren't traditionally, and people show up, whether they're traveling X amount of miles or what, I don't know. Plus, they do travel well. And then combined with the local folks, and you get that going on there, and away you go. And that really irritates the fan base.
People do not like to sit in their home stadium and listen to 10,000 people cheer as the visiting team wins.
Right.
And that gets under people's nerves.
Right. Now I'm not excusing
it doesn't
the chant.
It doesn't excuse it, but it's when it happens with the Dallas Cowboys, and having gone to a handful of Charger games, and you've probably seen this in Phoenix too. There's a handful of Sunbelt markets where you get this on a regular basis with lots of teams, but there's a lot of college towns where you rarely get it. And it's new and they don't like it. And if you haven't, your sisters have been to a Cardinals game when the Packers or the Steelers show up, and they take over take over the stadium. Yeah. And so Miami gets it, San Diego gets it. You probably get a little bit in LA too, but you go to some of these college towns and it's a new deal, and it only happens when BYU comes to town.
Not last Friday, the Friday before, against the Dodgers, a rookie hit a 2-run walk-off, right? Place was packed. That was the week where they didn't even draw 20,000, the midweek games in any of the Padre games. Then they play Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the Dodgers. And they had 46,000. And this Waldschmidt kid is a rookie, and he goes deep, hits a 2-run homer, and they win the game. Improbable, right? So I texted my sister at 10:23 p.m. our time. Wow. Because I know she's watching, right? That's all I said was wow. She texts back immediately. I jumped off the couch. Love it with all the Dodger fans. Goes to right what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And it'd be interesting to talk to her about how many teams. I mean, the Dodgers really do that in baseball, but if she's going to Cardinal games, I'm sure she's seen it with the Packers, the Steelers, the 49ers coming in every year. They tend to bring a ton of fans.
Yeah.
They just take over. You get a little numb to it after a while, quite frankly. I mean, going to Padre games as a kid, it just wasn't. And even into my, as they got better as I got older, even in my 20s when I was living in Santa Barbara, whenever I'd go home, if it was in the summer, Dad and I would often go to a game. And it didn't matter who they were playing, there's 5,000 people rooting for the other team. And then if it's the Dodgers or the Mets or the Cubs, there's 10,000 people rooting for the other team.
Yeah.
And you just get used to it. The only thing that ever got me is when I went to a Charger-Cowboy game. Same thing if I was in the fall. We went to a Charger-Cowboy game. I wasn't surprised by all the Cowboy fans because you know how popular they are. Then Washington comes to town, and they had a whole area under the scoreboard packed, and throughout the stadium it had to be 10,000 people. Might have been 12 or 15 or whatever. There was so much burgundy and gold. And so my dad looks and goes, Pentagon. There's so many military people in San Diego. They've rotated through. And
who's burgundy and gold?
Washington. It was the Redskins then, Commanders now. But they haven't changed the colors.
You
and I was
Washington.
Just stunned. Okay. Yeah, I was just stunned. There were so many. And he said, no, it's the Pentagon. They're all back there. They get into it. They get rotated out here. They retire out here because they were stationed out here. And here they are.
Yeah, when you said Washington, I immediately went to the Huskies.
No. It was the Redskins and Commanders now.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, and you get a little numb to it. But I just don't think a lot of these college stadiums, it's unusual, and they don't get it, and they show up. To me, it's not a big game, but that's why it stuck out to me. I've never been more shocked / impressed, even though I knew at that point, but just reinforced it, when BYU played Middle Tennessee State. It's like, okay, you can take that one off. You got a travel budget, you go to games. That's not a big game. It was a game they played one of the first couple of years of independence because they needed a game. And so they went and played it. And they scored. Well, of course they did. They were going to win the game. And it cut to the thing. And there, it just sections just packed with people in blue going nuts. You're like, man, if you can pack
Did
sections.
You go to that game?
No, I was watching on TV.
Oh, on television, okay.
Yeah, I was watching on TV, and they cut to it. And I'm just like, well, if you can pack a game in Middle Tennessee State, you can pack it anywhere. There's just not that much enthusiasm for this game.
Because Middle Tennessee State is centrally located.
Thanks for that. Is that
right there.
Murfreesboro?
You can go this way, you can go that way.
It's right in the middle.
Yeah.
DJ.
I can see why they call it Middle Tennessee State, because you wouldn't want to call it centrally located Tennessee.
That'd be a little rough.
Right, it would be.
But they have a Central Michigan.
CLT.
The located makes it a little. DJ and PK. All right. You think you got the guest now? We stalled long enough. Can you do it? You got him? Okay. It's still a coin flip. Next, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. So much good video and awful video from Wrigley Field last night, PK.
I know. It's disgusting.
It's the Cubs and the White Sox, and there's a couple guys who clearly started, and then there's a few people who can't wait to get in on it. I don't even know why some of them are throwing punches.
Once the beverage was thrown, it was
on. Yeah. And there's people blindsiding each other, like hitting people who aren't looking at them.
3 guys on one.
Yes. 4 on 1 at one point.
Yeah, brother.
I know. And the thing is, it's like one guy, the guy getting hit's got Cubs gear on. 3 of the people hitting him are Sox fans, but then a Cub fan starts hitting him too.
Well, he figures, what the heck?
What the heck? Let's get in on this. You can hear people, he's got to go to jail. I'm like, which one are you talking about? I can see about 10 people who need to go.
I think he's yelling
cuffed.
at the guy in the gray and muscle shirt.
Okay.
Because this guy's just going berserk.
Yes, he's clearly at the top of the list, but yeah.
Once he gets thrown, once the beer gets thrown. But that's what they invite. I've been saying it for years. And I don't think that if you eliminate alcohol, you can eliminate the fighting, but I certainly think it exasperates it.
There's also, it was out in the bleachers, then there's also someone who's got the camera phone going in right center and gets the Pete Crow Armstrong walk-off homer coming right towards him.
Oh, cool.
And it is right here. Had you seen this? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really good shot. And he stays with it. It's super steady. Lights are flashing. The people are going nuts. Yeah. 12 walk-off homers for the Cubs this season. Major League Baseball high. Is it like University of Houston in their close games? Can you repeat the last thing it wins?
Well, they have so far.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time to welcome Gordon Monson into the show. Gordon, good morning.
Man, how you guys doing?
We're good. Yeah, we've been up a long time. You've been up, I'm guessing, 5 to 10 minutes? Maybe 15?
I got a bad reputation in that regard.
You do.
He might even be up now. Might still be in bed.
Are you sitting in bed?
No, I'm not in bed.
All right.
But the bed's not far away. I did the morning with DJ back in the day. Remember that?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. There's a lot of history between the three of us.
There you go. All right, well, we wanted to have you on. You've written a story about what's going on at BYU. What is going on at BYU in your estimation as near as you can figure out?
Well, I've gotten look, I got my sources down there. I know you guys have yours too. And it's funny. People think we're making this stuff up. We're not making this stuff up. Kalani is really, really upset with the way things have gone down. And there's a bit of a disconnect. At least there has been. I don't know what's happened in the last 12 hours or so, but I know that Kalani was pretty upset with the situation as it was unfolding. He had certain expectations that haven't been fulfilled, and we'll see if they get fulfilled. And where this goes from here is anybody's guess. I would assume that they'd be able to smooth it over, but I'm not sure of it. I mean, I'm not sure how Kalani is going to respond moving forward. I do know this. He loves BYU, and he loves his job down there. But look, when people tell you something, I think one of the things that bothers people the most, or at least it does me, maybe it does you guys, and it certainly does Kalani as well, when people don't tell you the truth, or they tell you one thing and then they do another, that's a bit of a problem, especially at a place like BYU, where they claim to stand for certain things that about truth and things like that. And I think Kalani was extremely disappointed with the way things had gone. I have sources down there who told me they'd never seen Kalani as mad as he was over this.
Yeah, okay, I buy it. So the opportunity arose for him to speak on it, and he chose, and that's sort of mushroomed since then. The idea being that Brian Santiago is the whipping boy. I'm wondering to what level of accuracy, because we're making that sound like he's put a stop to whatever was agreed upon, and he alone, he's king, and he decides where the money goes, and he's a basketball guy, and he walked out on the stage when they hired Kevin Young. It's like I like to say when Morgan Wallen does his stadium tours, he always takes a local guy or two or a gal and walks out with them. And, he was right there with Kevin Young. So he's a basketball dude doing that very thing. And so he's going to devote as much money as possible to basketball at the expense of football. But I'm wondering the validity of that in terms of he's the sole reason why Kalani Sitake is furious.
That's a real good question, PK. I think this is a $64,000 question that I haven't been able to find out yet, and I don't know how you guys are or where you are on it. But it's this: who is it? Who is it that is where the buck stops on this? I've talked to people down there who have been totally pleased with Brian Santiago, who say he's a fair dude. And he's worked with them, and they're happy with his involvement. So is it him alone? I kind of doubt it. I was told that some of the emotion coming from Kalani is not just aimed at Brian; it's aimed at certain administrators that are higher up on the ranking. And so I don't know. This is one thing I haven't found out, and I don't know what you guys have found out. Who is it? Who is it that is causing the problem and the disruption with Kalani? I don't have the answer to that yet. Do you guys?
Well, I definitely think there's friction and tension there. I don't think that's any surprise. And I put out a piece. I don't write regularly anymore, but I thought that was necessary. And the idea being, Brian was comfortable with Kalani leaving, and it had to go above him. And I guess elders of the church who have that, they're assigned BYU, whatever it might be, how it plays out, and they had to step in, that Brian was completely comfortable in going with Jay Hill. And if Kalani didn't want to stay or wanted to go, so be it. So there is tension there, but I also have a hard time believing, based on the structure of BYU, which tends to be a little bloated at the top, that you're going to have so much power as the athletic director, and everything, the buck stops or doesn't go forward with you exclusively.
I would just build on that. I would say there is no way that Santiago by himself could be fighting some multi-front war and holding everybody off. There've got to be people who think like he does, and whether he's leading them or they're leading him and he's following them, I don't know. That gets pretty gray. But it doesn't seem to me like the worst case scenario that people are talking about, the absolute worst case could be true. That Kalani isn't getting stuff that's in his contract, and that Santiago alone is the reason. No, because back to what PK said, there's usually too many people, and you report to multiple people, and there's a whole food chain, and like that he would all by himself. That just doesn't smell. That's not logical. It doesn't pass the smell test.
I agree with both of you. That's not the way things work at BYU. You don't. One guy in Brian Santiago's position doesn't have the power to put up a battle like this. And if he thinks he does, he's going to lose. He's going to lose that, in my opinion. I think it goes beyond. It goes to the school president. And I don't know where the leap is from the administrators up to church leadership. That's the void that has not been crossed or connected in the people I've talked with. But I was told by reliable sources that Kalani's anger goes past Brian Santiago to folks who are in more powerful positions than he is.
I think the basic premise here, rather than get caught up in the specifics, is why aren't you investing more in football compared to basketball? And basketball is riding along with football when football, and this is across the country basically, and certainly at Provo, Utah, BYU, is that the return on the investment, the ROI, as they say, and I know, Gordon, you're a financial genius because you've advised me many, many times that the ROI in football is just X amount larger, and it'll always be larger. And that's where you need to put the majority of your emphasis financially and all the other things that go into it, because they are the big money maker, and the opportunity to make even way more than you're making now is there if you would invest in it. And I think that's the core of the issue.
I agree with that, PK. And the thing about Kalani knows what a program has to have in order to be at the level that BYU fans and that he expects the program to be. I don't think he's sitting there. I think he wants what he's due on a personal level. There's no doubt about that. But he wants the other stuff. I was told it goes from big things to little things on down the line. Stuff that some people might not think is that important, but it's very important to him because he thinks it affects the way the Cougars play on the field. And, if you put this to a vote among boosters and among fans, certainly BYU has plenty of them. One booster told me they're swimming in money down there. They would be on Kalani's side on this and just say everything you just said, PK. Football is king down there. Take care of your football program. Because think about what's happened with BYU sports. I know some people think, this isn't important. These are just games they play. BYU has gotten so much publicity and much of it positive out of its sports, especially football and to some degree basketball, over the past couple of years, probably more than I've ever remembered seeing come BYU's way in the past, going back 40, 50 years, all the way back to Lavelle. I mean, I've seen BYU spoken of more often recently than ever before in all my years covering that school. And so they do get benefits from this. People do watch BYU football and say, hey, BYU, they're aware of it. And that's kind of going all the way back to Rondo Feldberg. That's sort of what the church that operates the school wants to get out of this. They want positive publicity, and they want exposure that will lead people to become interested in what their religion is all about. And so, yeah, it's pretty important to that institution down there and up in Salt Lake as well.
Gordon Monson, Salt Lake Tribune, joining us. Do you feel like it'll impact the team in the short run this season? Do you feel like it might impact it in the longer run, or do you think they blow through this and just keep doing what they've been doing, which double-digit win seasons 4 times in 6 years and back-to-back in the Big 12, which is most important, obviously?
Two avenues here. One is that in the long run, I think it could be harmful to the program It could be harmful in the short term as well. But I wrote a column about this, and it's something, you know how football is, how emotional it is. I think the players could rally around their coach. I mean, you guys have known Kalani all these years. We've known him for, what's it been, PK, 35, 40 years, whatever it's been, 30 years. I mean, the guy is a lovable dude. His players, most of them, maybe not all of them, but most of them really love the guy, and he loves them. And when you have that kind of connection with your players and the players' sense that, hey, this guy is not only sticking up for himself, but he's sticking up for the players as well. I was told by a source down there that those players don't get nearly as much in benefits than what the reputation is. And they see this coach out there fighting for them and fighting for him and fighting for them as well. So will they go out and play their off to help him succeed? And so it could be a rallying cry for this season. On the other hand, if things start to go south a little bit, then who knows? Who knows what can stir up? And we've seen this with college teams. We've seen it in professional teams. Sometimes it can benefit, and sometimes it's a detriment. What it's going to be with this particular team, I'm eager to find that out. But in the long haul, I think if BYU ticks off Kalani Sitake to the point where he wants out, I think that would leave a hole in that program that would be very difficult for him to fill. I know Jay Hill is out there. He's busy in Michigan right now. We know he wants to be a head coach one day, but I don't think he's a vulture just circling around the carcass of BYU football, waiting for an opportunity to get in there. Kalani Sitake is from Central Casting. For BYU football coach. He is everything they want in a coach, and then some. And when you think of the record, 23-4 over the past 2 years, what's not to like about what this guy is doing? As far as spending the money, investing the money into the program, that's something that has to happen if they want to compete for Big 12 championships and to get into the college football playoff. If they want to be what they've been in the past and just kind of finish 7-5 or 8-4, something like that, then maybe they can get away with this kind of nonsense. But they can't get away with it if they want to be at the top. And it seems like that's what they say they want.
Yeah, they certainly say that. They want to play at the highest levels while maintaining the search standards and all that, and that's a difficult balance. We understand that. But my thought, and I don't have anybody who's told me this, is that we have heard from other folks that, the price keeps going up and up and up. The percentage, 15, 20% per year, even more, and there's $40 million, $50 million rosters, that the church leadership is going to put a limit on it. We're just not going to dump significant amounts of money every single year in terms of raising it. We'll, in our minds, devote a significant amount of money, but don't count on a 15 to 20% increase yearly like some of these other places are. Somebody's got to draw the line somewhere.
Well, do you want to win?
Yeah, but I mean, but do you want to win, or do you want to just continue to have a steady stream of money being flowed out?
Well, there are programs, and we can name some of them, who do have a lot of money, and they don't use it properly, or they don't use it in a manner that ends up with a successful formula. And so there is squandering of some of those resources, but the programs that really have it together, they utilize what they have and they win games. And, you kind of get what you pay for if you have the right people in place. I think BYU has the right people in place as far as its football program goes. So what's the cost? What's the cost of winning? What's the reward to exposure? What's the reward for having BYU, your church school, named on national TV over and over again, and have people interested in tuning in and being interested, because people love winners. It's just the way it is. If BYU wants to play that game, then they have to at least come up with a certain amount of money. We're way past the days of Lavelle Edwards when he was finding geniuses to help him win far beyond what the program had as far as resources. These days, you can't get by like that. It just doesn't work anymore. So you got to make a decision. What do you want to be? If you want to be at the top, then it's going to cost you a certain amount. But you get a lot in return as well. You got both of us, all three of us were talking to a certain guy down there at BYU recently, and he was telling us about some of the finances that are involved in and some of the payoffs that come out of BYU football. So ultimately, is it worth paying those prices? That's what they have to figure out.
Well, but see, the thing is,
Sitake's the right guy to have. I mean, how is he not the right guy to run the program and to pay that price for?
I get, and this is the part that doesn't make any sense. I get that one day it may be too much, that the spending's just accelerating so quickly. So everything just PK said, I get that. There'll come a time some school somewhere is going to say, that's just too much. But that's the kind of discussion you would think that BYU administrators would be having before they gave Kalani the deal. I wouldn't think that moment then comes within months of that deal being done. And if you think you're going to move on from Kalani to Jay, you think Jay isn't going to come in and say the same thing? Jay's now seen the inside of Michigan's finances. He's been in BYU. He's seen the inside of their finances. What do you think he's going to say? So you're either going to pay it or you're not. What is the end game in not following through on the promises, or only following through on the promises part way?
100%, DJ. 100% right there. There it is.
Yeah.
You get what you pay for if you have the right people in place. If you don't have the right people in place, then you squander your money. If you have the right people in place and you invest what needs to be invested in order to be whatever it is you want to be, if you want to be at the top, then that's the price you pay. If you want mediocre football and just have people go out to the game and those who will show up and enjoy the afternoon or the evening, whatever, okay, then that's what you're going to get. But you can't have it both ways. You gotta sacrifice what's necessary in order to win. And if you don't want to do that, then get the hell out of it.
We'll leave it right there, Gordon. Why don't you go back to sleep or take your late morning nap, whatever you want to do.
Oh, are you kidding me? I've been out, splitting logs and hauling lumber since the crack of dawn this morning. Come on, guys.
Hauling lumber. All right, we'll talk to you, Gordon.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks.
See ya.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up, top of the hour, Larry the Laker on everything going on in L.A. And accusations of fraud, teams being sold to backfill cash. What is going on? We'll talk with Larry coming up. Stay with us.
This is Utah's best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth. Here we go. From the guys who have been there for all the biggest moments in Utah sports history. You're listening to DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We got tickets to give away. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE wins 5-pack of tickets to see RSL play Dallas tomorrow night, America First Field. Dallas just won and leapt over them in the stand. He's got Musa, one of the top goal scorers in the league, coming in. So you want to go to that game? Call right now, 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. Caller 12 wins. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell says it's inevitable that the league will eventually have a team permanently based outside the United States. PK, you ready for the International Football League? Can you be the National Football League if you have a team in England or Germany or wherever? Maybe he's talking Toronto or Mexico City, but it seems like they're playing most of their games.
I was hoping talking Nogales.
I think they're playing most of their overseas games in Europe.
Juarez. Something real close.
More border cities. And go.
Yeah, at some point, I guess they'll try it and figure out a way to negotiate. There's money. Wherever there's money to be made, that's where the future is.
It's money to be made globally. How many teams can they add and where? London first? That seems to be where they've gone the most. Goodell didn't spell that out, but doing that interview in Germany. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. When we come back, Larry the Laker next. Stay with us.
Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah. My favorite. This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Los Angeles, the Lakers for sale. Jeanie Buss out if her siblings have their way. They want to sell their shares and cash in.
Well, it's going to be a great Thanksgiving this year.
Get them all together. Pass the potatoes. Just feeling the love.
Yeah. Seems like they got some issues there.
Jeanie, you're early for Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah, well, I didn't have a team to run, so I thought I'd stop by.
Well, clearly she wants to stay.
Yep. And there's a rule, apparently, that you've got to own a certain amount of the team to be the governor, and so if the other siblings share, then she's out. And that would explain that Bob Iger comment when he bought the team. Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to working with her, but, we'll see how it plays out. Well, yeah, he had an idea the other kids wanted to sell and that she wouldn't be able to stay. In retrospect, that comment makes way more sense. Like, why are you looking forward to her, but you're going to see how it plays out? If you're looking forward to working with her, she works there for me.
Unless she can buy her way back in, which they may not let her.
Yeah.
The Tribune went through all that stuff with being sold, and the guys want it back and went through a bunch of hands. I don't have any clue who owns it now. So you got that going on, too. But, yeah, she wants in, and they got friction. She fired some people, family members, siblings, a while back. And
yeah, two of the brothers were working on the basketball side.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the new owners could hire her.
They could, yeah.
But
she's not anticipating that.
Right. She wants a legal standpoint to allow me to continue to do it. Mm-hmm. She wants to do this. And her lawyer is going to contest it, which, what does that mean? What does the NBA do? And just sit by and
let the family fight it out?
Yeah. And just do they need to have that resolved in order for the sale to go through? And then you got the other guy, Walter, over here, who's now he may have to sell the Dodgers because he owes all this money. Blah, blah, blah.
He's being investigated for fraudulent loans. So if he needs the money to backfill those loans,
right,
then where's he going to get it from?
This is a crazy time.
Sell the Lakers first. It's part of an English soccer team, and he's selling that. But there's reports that that's not going to be enough money.
Right. Yeah, and then it's such an enormous amount of money.
And I'm curious, and I'm sure we'll get some report on this going forward, all these deferred contracts that he signed people to, is that because he didn't have the money to pay it up front, or he didn't have the money and he was able to convince the players and the agents, hey, you'll get taxed differently, push that money out, right, and when you get it, you won't be living in California, you won't pay that huge tax. So maybe he was able to talk him into it, or they offered it up and he agreed because he was short on cash.
Yeah, I understand all that. That is all the possibilities that are there.
And so how's that going to impact the labor negotiations? Because for a long time it was painted as the Dodgers and the money, and we've got to have a salary cap. And it's like, well, if they come back to the pack right away because they don't have it, and if he does sell the team and all that, then it gets down to what I think you and I both think it's really about, which is the valuations of the clubs. And even now with the Padres deal done, and it's $3.9 billion, I just had that list of the 10 most expensive franchise sales in North America. Well, the Padres go into that list. Now, they're not the biggest market with the most TV revenue. They're doing great in attendance. They're second there. But it stands to reason that if they're worth $3.9 billion, there's a bunch of owners whose clubs are suddenly worth a lot more money today. Now, that doesn't mean they want to sell, so I don't know how they're going to cash in on it. I guess you can borrow money against the value of the club.
You can draw against it if that's what you want to do. That's way over my
we don't have to worry about
that stuff, and I don't think the average fan cares about that. It's what money you investing into your team to make my team competitive so I can enjoy watching them with an opportunity to win, knowing that they're probably not going to win. I mean, the reality is that's what's going to happen.
There's 30 teams, and 29 are going to end with a, wow, we could have done better moment.
Yeah, right. And, you'd like to think that your team is going to have a shot, and for most of the summer it does have a shot. And that's, to me, that's good enough. Yeah. But for some, you want to taste the ultimate at some point. I get that. I just don't know that portion of it is going to change, because I don't think this whole salary cap is based on the Dodgers. I think that's overstated.
Yes. And it's to cover what it's really for. My team's worth a couple billion, but I want it to be worth $4 billion or $6 billion.
Yeah, but I mean, go sell it then. You're not going to lose money.
Right. But they want it to be worth more, which they feel it'd be worth more if they had a salary cap and if they could control, guarantee that they can control their biggest expense, which is paying the players. That, I think, is what it's really about.
Well, they can control it.
By simply not paying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can set an unofficial.
And this is what the players are going to say. It's like, well, first off, the Dodgers are coming back to the pack, and they're probably not going to three-peat.
We're just in the boredom of the season.
Yeah. And your
Milwaukee
teams
did this
are
last
worth more.
year and then got beat.
Right. And it could be anybody. I mean, maybe it's the Red Sox. They've gotten hot, and they don't have the overall record, but they've been playing great. Maybe it's the Cubs. They've gotten hot. They don't have the overall record, but they're playing great. Could be anybody.
Yeah. I think
that's the nature of the baseball playoffs.
It's more about the Lakers, though, what we're talking about right now, rather than baseball. And what does this mean? Does it mean anything for the competitive balance of the Lakers? Because I don't think the fan really cares about the Buss squabble. The siblings can fight among themselves all they want. They can hate each other. They can take it to their grave if they want.
They have before. They are now, and they may do it again.
But how does it affect the competitive nature of the Lakers? I think that's what the fans are interested in. And it may be screwed up upon her in terms of Jeannie's out, and that makes her sad. And then she hates her siblings and doesn't talk to them for the rest of their lives. But then does
Pelinka stay, and who's calling the shots?
Well,
and
when you have new ownership, the reality is he's going to get fired at some point. And that's
GMs do, and ownership changes tend to speed it up.
Right. And what does this new group do? What are they looking for? They clearly wanted in because they were pursuing potentially expansion franchises. Yeah. So now how are they going to run it? My instinct says it's not going to change all that much. If they have it going on, it's going to be a destination because people are going to see what has been done and what LeBron has been able to just transform into this multimedia superstar at all levels by doing all these things that he's doing. And, I want to do that. Now, you have to have the game and the desire because not everybody wants to have everything. Now, he's doing this new thing where he's on YouTube with golf now, as that's his latest passion. And he wants to do that and see how he develops across the golf career, basically. Not to play at the highest level. I'm not talking about that. But, where he was and where he can become. Well, if he devotes a bunch of time to it, he's going to get better.
It's clear.
Yeah, right. But he wants to do that. So he constantly puts himself out there. And that's his right to do that. People get upset about what he's doing. And, what is he doing that is wrong? You may disagree with him, but he has every right to speak his mind and create a golf YouTube because there's going to be people that are going to follow the progression of his golf game now.
Yeah, they are. He almost had a hole-in-one.
Right.
And the video was out there, the ball rolling across the green.
Because it's clear that he's got the bug.
Yes.
Yeah. And I actually think it's kind of cool. I probably won't watch it. I'll see clips of it. But that's what he wants to do. And
the NBA is going to come to an end, and it's going to give him something athletic to do, and it's going to give him something that is a constant challenge. He's going to get to hang out with his friends. He's going to get to go cool places and play beautiful courses.
Oh, for sure.
So it's going to be awesome.
So I think from that perspective, there'll be others who will want to do the same. The Lakers' advantages will always be there. Doesn't mean you're always going to win, but the advantages that they have are clearly very nice, and I don't think ownership change is going to change any of that or remove it.
The thing that they had for 40 years is they had two different people, Hall of Famers, basketball savants who've won so many titles in different roles. They had Jerry West, and they had Phil Jackson calling the shots. And since Phil left the last time, they've gone 15 years with one title. Now, a lot of that, there's probably 5 or 6 years in there. They're paying Kobe at the end of his career, and he tears his Achilles, and he can't do it, and then they got to rebuild. So I get some of that. But in 15 years, one title, that's not the clip the Lakers won at. And you do have to have a good owner, and you do have to have a lot of money. But it looks to me like you still got to have Jerry West or Phil Jackson, people who really get it. They know how to put a winner together. And those advantages you talk about, do you bring in the right people? You've got them. You've got Hollywood. You've got big money. You got a town that's awesome to live in if you're wealthy. It's a great place to be in the winter. You got a lot of built-in advantages. But they went 20 years with one title, and then they had 30 years where they were awesome. Just 10 titles in 30 years. And a bunch more appearances in the finals because those two were calling the shots. Now, since Phil stepped down about 2010, I'd have to check the year. So we're going on like 15 years, and it's one title.
Okay. So that's bad?
It's not. I think what bugs people around here is the 30 years where they win 10 times. That's what really bugs people. They got the corner on the market. When you're really smart and you got all those built-in advantages, how do you beat them? It gets really, really hard. So if they are what they've been these last 15 years, I mean, maybe these guys go out and find somebody who really knows hoops and hand it to them, and they go to town, and they put together another dynasty.
Well, they will.
Oh, really? You think it's scary?
Yes.
Interesting. I can't say that definitively. I don't feel it that definitively.
They'll win titles again.
Okay, I believe that, because that means 2. But 2 in 20 years, or...
What's wrong with that?
Or 7 in 15. Well, 7 and 15 leaves a lot more room for everybody else, including the Utahs of the world.
Okay.
So I think we
the Lakers are going to lose more titles than they win. Doesn't matter what they do. Because you just said 7 out of 15. That means you didn't win at 8. So there's plenty of room for everybody if you do the right thing. They don't have any charge that's any different from any other team. Do the right thing. Spend the right money. Draft the right players. Sign the right players. Coach them up. That applies to everyone. That doesn't apply just exclusively to the Lakers. They have advantages to be able to get more players who want to go there. Okay, I got it. But at the same time, everyone has that opportunity. That'll be forever. Make the right decisions, blah, blah, blah. Away you go. And Utah, the Jazz in Utah will never have those types of advantages, but they also have plenty of other stuff that works in their favor too. And there's going to be players that have that sophistication to say, I like that. And this is a good situation, so I'm going to stay here. I mean, Jaren Jackson talks about it all the time. And he's only played 2 games. How many games did he play here? 1? And then they went on a road trip? The other day he put up, when the schedule came out, get Tix. T-I-X. 6 letters. He's jacked for the season. So that'll always be there. And you have the opportunity to beat the Lakers every single year. If you make the right decisions and you do the right things and your players blossom, then you can be there too. I don't think it's hopeless by any stretch.
I don't know if hopeless is the right word. Maybe it feels hopeless even if it isn't. But
well, why?
When they get it rolling, when they're smart and they've got all the built-in advantages, Magic and Kareem, Shaq and Kobe and Pau, it feels impossible.
But it's
and
not.
It isn't, you're right. But it's very possible when they go through some of the mediocre stretches they've gone through. And they're not intimidating anybody.
It's possible every year if you do the right thing. I only have to look at Milwaukee. I only have to look at Denver. Right. I only have to look at San Antonio.
But are they going to hire the people to do the right thing?
The Jazz?
The Lakers.
Yeah, that's up to them.
I know, but that's the whole intrigue with Iger. Like, who's going to call the shots?
Well, that's the intrigue with everybody.
Pelinka's probably, days are numbered now.
But that doesn't change. That's the same thing for everyone. The Atlanta Hawks, they have the same challenges, and the challenges are the same. The advantages might not be the same, but the challenge and the objective is the same thing throughout every sport. Your guys at RSL, same thing. Put the right people in place, put the right guys out on the field, and away you go. And that's what everyone is striving for. It's the ultimate job to where this is the objective. The objective never changes. And I don't see this ownership guaranteeing that the Lakers are going to be bad or guaranteeing that they're going to be good. They're going to have to have the same charge for everything. And now they can get rid of LeBron. LeBron was weighing him down. He is a walking distraction. And I think we're going to see that with Philadelphia this year. As long as if he takes a back seat, that could be different. But do I think Philadelphia's going to win the title? No. I don't think so. I don't see where this changes much. The Buss family is screwed up. Well, we've known about that for years. And now it's rearing its head again. It's clear that her siblings want to stick it to her. And that sucks for her. And really it sucks for the family. Because in the end, when you're on your deathbed, who gives a rat's you-know-what? How many titles the Lakers won or whether you got to work for the Lakers? Does it really matter? You're about to die. Your blood is about to die. And that's sad. And if people took that approach, they wouldn't be caught up in this stuff. But yeah, we're all caught up. I'm caught up, and I deal with it every freaking day. And that's the reality of it.
DJ and PK, when we come back, everything you missed in this show next. Stay with us.
For all of you, less motivated listeners, it's time for your 9 o'clock. Where the heck have you been headlines?
Where you at?
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, KSL Sports Zone. Catching you up to date on everything we're talking about in this show. College football top 25, Associated Press style comes out. Looks a lot like the coaches poll. BYU is tied for 14 with USC instead of 15th. One spot behind USC. And the Utes are 21st in both of them. Texas Tech is 12th in both of them. And Houston's 23 or 24. So the Big 12, for whatever it's worth, that's what people are thinking before the games start. Once the games start, everything can change. TCU, your underrated team, PK. It's the team you're breaking out with here. Someone going to have a breakout year.
If I'm looking for a surprise team like we've had the last, both years, I'm going to go TCU, which isn't a huge surprise team by any stretch.
They are the fifth team in others receiving votes. Yeah. So certainly somebody's got their eye on them.
Right.
Although Arizona's fourth. But isn't Arizona a little bit like Houston? Winning close games, can it be replicated? They're thinking so much the close games as I think they had an awesome turnover margin, and you just can't do that every year.
No, but they lost in double overtime to BYU.
Yep.
Or was. So I trust Fafita. If I'm going to go quarterbacks in the Big 12 that I trust the most, he's going to top the list. Because he's been there. The program is built around him, and he knows what he's doing. I have a lot of faith in him.
He's been through the ups and downs, good times, bad times, good times again.
He's going to leave there as a legend.
Resisting the urge to bounce around.
Right. He stayed through upheaval, and he did not bolt. And that means something to fans because the fan stays. The fan never goes. The fan is there, especially in that city, which is much smaller, and the sports that they have revolve around the U of A.
Good enough to start as a freshman, good enough to win as a freshman,
yeah,
and did not follow his coach when his coach left, which you would have understood, but didn't do it. And has resisted whatever temptation has come his way. I'm sure he or his folks or his high school coach or his agent or all of them have gotten calls.
Right. But he chose to stay, and he's really good.
And he can say he's a Wildcat.
Yeah.
And so many quarterbacks now play at three schools.
He's going to go down with the likes of Gronk and Teddy Bruschi.
Wildcat lifers.
Dick Tomei was celebrated there. And he's going to have the acclaim for a football player that normally is reserved for softball and men's basketball. Yeah, and I think that's pretty cool.
USC at 14. You figure they either do much better or much worse? They don't end up at 14? Make them or break them?
No, I could see them doing that, being right in that vicinity, which, Lincoln Riley's not talking that stuff. He's talking bigger because they're expected to be bigger. You've been in this program now a number of years, and whatever the time it took you to build it, you should be there by now. And so I think there's a lot of pressure on him, and there's, talk about, what would be his buyout and all that stuff. If he only wins 6 or 7, that might be it. It's a question of whether do you get to 9 or 10, but then you still don't get into the conference title game, nor do you get into the playoff. Where are you there? If that happens, figure out, okay, what level of contentment does the administration / fan base have for you? Well, because you can't have the Notre Dame excuse. You got that out of the way. So that's going to be an interesting development there.
They ought to start 4-0, but then it gets pretty rough. Oregon and Washington come in the next 2 weeks, and it's on.
That's awesome.
They've got Ohio State, Indiana, Penn State on the
get
schedule.
to October.
Yeah.
Yeah. October is really when, that is the pretender-contender month.
Yeah.
And then November is the champion month.
They have Oregon in September and Indiana in November, but the meat of it there, Washington, Penn State, Ohio State, all October. Mm-hmm. October's huge.
Right. Yeah, I think that's when the separation happens. And then if you get into November, then you find out if you can seal the deal, or in this case, finish second, which is all you have to do, which is
honestly, he'll get away with finishing third, won't he? If he gets to 10-2 and is in the playoffs?
I would think so, because you're going to have some good wins. But I don't know that getting to the playoff and getting beat early is good enough, though. Whereas if you have a Big Ten title in your back pocket and get beat in the second round,
that'd be better.
That's pretty good. I think you have to look at that as a successful season. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm not sure they can get to that level. I don't know what kind of coach he is. I know he took Stoops' guys over there in Oklahoma and did well. But now you're over here, and this is your program, your guys. Everything that you have there is handpicked by you. And I'm not sure he's good enough. I don't know that he isn't good enough, but I don't know that he is.
There's no way to answer that definitively, but I would lean towards he's not. Partly because of the time he's had, and partly because the defense just hasn't even been close.
Yeah, but that's years ago.
He hasn't been close defensively. You think they were close last year?
Close to what?
Being good enough defensively.
I haven't studied their defense. I couldn't name you one guy.
They gave up boatloads of points last year. It seems like he's never gotten the other side of the ball right.
But that's what he's talking about.
I know. Now it'll be different.
Yeah.
I know. Hire another coordinator, bring in more players.
And that's his whole emphasis on his comments in the offseason, that now he has the team that can contend. And he's putting himself on notice because he knows. I can't go another year with disappointment.
All right, there's we've been talking about the poll this morning in college football. BYU moved their opener. Oregon State next year is going to be in August now. So it becomes your kickoff game. And that opens up another bye form in the regular season. Spread the games out. Give you guys a chance to get healthy. We heard from Morgan Scalley earlier in the show. Continuity. Offensive line. Identify the 5 and plug them into spots. It's a little bit of a rotation, trying to figure that out right now. The defensive line, defensive tackle. I guess they're set it in, but defensive tackle, they're still trying to figure that rotation out. The dog days, PK, 2 weeks down, 2 weeks to go. Get yourself 2 weeks from now, you can be working on game prep. It'll feel different.
It will feel different because they will have made the division between scout team and travel, who has depth chart type stuff. Yeah. So they need to plow through that until you get to that point, and then there's something at the end of the tunnel becomes very clear, and the mood changes. It does this every single year, and right now it is just, I don't want to say boring, but it's just practice. You're practicing to get better, but you're practicing for practice sake. Whereas in those 2 weeks, then you're practicing for preparation. And school starts, so everything flips, right? You got to go to class or you got to be online, whatever it is. And they change the structure, and then that structure stays the same all the way to the end.
The NFL, it's all about the injuries and a little bit of the signing, because Keenan Allen, who's a longtime NFL wide receiver, did land with a one-year deal with the Colts. But everywhere else, it's injury news. New Orleans, they've lost rookie wide receiver Jordan Tyson, 2 months with a hamstring injury. The Rams are not looking to rush Puka Nacua back. He's had some kind of back issue. Myles Garrett's had some knee stuff going on. So those guys aren't practicing. Jets had a running back get hurt. Bears had a running back get hurt. It says injury news all over the place. But welcome to the second week of the NFL preseason schedule. There you go. The baseball news, Pete Crow Armstrong, 2 more homers, and the Cubs walk it off and beat the White Sox. Cubs charging, trying to win the division, set themselves up in the playoffs. They do look like a playoff team. There's enough time they could blow it, but they've looked pretty good for a while now, and they're sitting in that first wild card spot. And he is making a case for himself as the MVP.
Oh, you're making a strong case.
Shohei Ohtani is making a case for himself as the MVP again. He hit 2 home runs. Did the Dodgers break out of it? Did they figure out the offensive woes? Or they're playing Colorado, and everybody beats up on Colorado, so what the heck?
I think at the MVP, if there's some voter fatigue there, like there was in the 90s with Jordan and Malone be able to get in there and get a couple, if that matters to you. Stuff that's voted on
doesn't matter as much to you.
It doesn't, no. With the exception of the Hall of Fame. Because that's the ultimate individual honor.
Well, Ohtani was winning individual honors when he was playing for the Angels, but he wasn't going anywhere near the postseason. Now he's with the Dodgers, and he's doing both, winning World Series titles and still winning individual honors. And he said it doesn't matter to him who's running the Dodgers, who's calling the shots. He's staying in L.A. Likes what he's got.
Well, he's in his 30s now, yeah.
Write it out.
Yeah. And it's the case of the foreign guy who has found a level of comfortability thousands of miles from home, and I don't want to have to move again. I don't blame him. But he's king there for sure. You see all the advertisements that they do in Japanese. Right.
Put stuff up on the scoreboard during games.
Oh, yeah, and then back behind home plate, and blah, blah, when they're doing it, well, obviously they have more Japanese players than him, but clearly the community in that area has a large Japanese population, and you see him at the games there. I mean, the world stops turning when he comes to bat.
Put down what you're doing, Shohei's up.
If you're there at the game or you're on television watching, yes, he is the biggest must-see show we have in the game.
The Cubs and White Sox had a must-see show out in the bleachers. People beating each other up. 5, 10, 15 people throwing punches. People just throwing punches at people who aren't even looking. Nice summer night at the ballpark. And a big old brawl. A lot of people just clearing out. Get me out of this.
Well, you have to have a brawl every now and again just to shake it up, and let the ushers and the security know what they need to do, and then I bet you these people wake up this morning and think, boy, that was pretty stupid.
People waking up with welts on their forehead,
depending
and
on
fat lips.
Where they're waking up too.
Yeah,
I don't know how many were hauled off.
A couple of them might be in jail,
but they should be held accountable because it's unacceptable. But we see it. We will see every Monday this year in the NFL, we'll see some brawls.
Yep.
And they're all this alcohol-driven.
Punching each other's lights out.
Yeah.
Welcome to the ballpark. The Phillies, a lot of clutch hitting to hold off Miami, one of the teams of your youth. Looking good, sitting in the second wild card. Won a wild game 6-5. Neither bullpen really, it was 2-0 after 5, and then no one could get through an inning without giving up a run. Clutch hitting or bad bullpens. Whatever. Phillies win. They're closing in on 70 wins, so.
It's still too early to look at the standings.
In addition to the Dodgers, the Red Sox, with their 11 runs, we'll see if they can follow that up. Follow up their big days at the plate. Now, there was the whole psychological thing, the Diamondbacks, no distractions. Well, Ketel Marte did not show up. As you pointed out, not the first time. They need to be done. But they go out a run, 4 hits, 2 errors. That just screams distraction. It's bad defense, not enough hitting.
Oh, yeah, they just took 2 out of 3 from the Braves.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, everything unravels in Boston.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to look at Ketel and say, you're the problem.
Right. And they've been talking about trading him now for 2 years, but they want to continue to love. And maybe there's a good reason. I have no idea what the reason is. Maybe there is a good reason, but
not showing up is pretty egregious.
It really is, because and plus you're the team's best player.
Yeah. So there's that. Can you imagine the story if Shohei didn't show up, or I mean he's been hurt, but if Aaron Judge didn't show up,
yeah,
if Pete Crow Armstrong didn't show up, he showed up. He homered in the first and then walked it off at the end.
Just not showing up. That there better be a good reason, and the problem here is once you've done it multiple times,
yeah,
even if there is a good reason, there's all sorts of skepticism.
Yep. And Golf Live canceling their season-ending team championship in Michigan. So their tournament in Indianapolis is going to be their last one. There's brave talk about reimagining this, and the players are going to own it. But as you pointed out earlier, there's also stories that John Rahm is headed back to the PGA Tour, and the Saudi money is all done. So is Live going to be all done after this tournament in Indianapolis?
Well, I don't really care. And that is a bad sign. I care if there's a baseball lockout. I care. But I don't care if Live goes away. And that's not a good sign. And I'm a golf guy.
You're a golf guy, and if you're not emotionally attached to it, how can anybody else?
Right.
And sports thrives on emotion. If you don't have that, what have you got?
Yeah. To me, I can get my entertainment through the PGA Tour. There's enough going on. And if there isn't, well, just wait a week.
Yeah, if they have a down week, you're right.
Yeah.
Bounces back.
Yeah.
It does make me a little nervous, the PGA, this plan to take weeks off after majors. That's the magic of the PGA Tour always there. I actually get shortening it and say, hey, as the NFL lengthens their season, there's no point in investing in golf tournaments versus the NFL. And we're going to back off that. And maybe they can do something. I mean, they're going to have this 2-stage tour, 2-level tour. So maybe they do something with the other events, and it's a big deal, and it fills the gap for golf that week.
Yeah, but I have a problem with that. I don't care later in the summer or in spring, but I have a problem with no Palm Springs, no San Diego, no Phoenix, no L.A. I got to have those 4.
They're going to save them in some form, but I still haven't heard anything definitive. I think 3 of them are going to happen for sure. I think Palm Springs is doomed, and I don't understand that at all.
No,
I think San Diego's probably okay, but
it should be.
Yeah, I get it. They have talked about making that a playoff event. They've talked about Pebble, but I don't think they can really move Pebble. So they may have to keep it early. Phoenix is going to be early. To me, Phoenix should still be on the Super Bowl. I don't get why the PGA Tour is getting off Super Bowl week. The Super Bowl is so late in the day, it's only going to get later. And play the golf before that.
Which they do.
I know. It's perfect. I don't understand why they mess with Phoenix.
It usually ends right around kickoff.
And they also were talking about not doing something.
And they have to because of the daylight.
Right. They were talking about not doing something the the week before the Super Bowl when there's no football. I'm like, that should absolutely be the PGA opener. And so that opens up dates for some of these. And I don't understand the whole, well, Palm Springs isn't a big enough market. It's L.A. It's absolutely L.A. L.A. sprawls for 2 hours in every direction. People with money in L.A. are going to come out. Catalina.
No, but that's not 2 hours.
Oh, okay. You got me there. Nice save for a little Catalina, do you think?
I knew you would go there.
Oh, okay. I've never been there, actually.
It's fun.
Yeah, I should go out sometime.
I went last year.
Oh, you did?
I took friends.
Who hadn't been?
The Family Feuder. Big Ute fans when we went down. They played the Bruins in the first game. And I was thinking, okay, we got to do something different because we've taken them before. And I can only go by the place where I live so many times, and it gets boring. And once you've already you don't do it to the same people. No. That's rude. Once, fine. And we did go to Catalina, and they had never been there. And I did not realize that, and maybe I forgot because I'd taken my parents there. We lived we lived right in a coastal town that sails out of there. Yeah, 2 minutes from where we lived, right? So when they would come over, we'd go over something to do, and maybe I had forgotten. But in the 40s and 50s, the Cubs trained there.
In Catalina?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes. So I go into we're killing time, waiting for the shuttle to take us back. And so they got the little city right there by the harbor. And I go into some souvenir shop. They're looking. And they got all this Cubs stuff there. Like, what's going on? And they trained there. Yeah, and it still has a big section of a souvenir store, had tons of Cubs stuff. And then they had some books, and I checked it out. Yeah, they did train there.
All the other major league teams are like, quit training out there. We don't want to take a boat out there to play games. It's a waste of time.
Well, it was crazy in those days because you had Yuma, you had Palm Springs, you had Catalina, you had some in Phoenix.
Tucson?
And Tucson, yes. Yeah. Cleveland, I think, used to do that.
Yeah.
And then whoever came up with the idea, hey, why don't we all have it right here?
Just go into Phoenix. Yeah. We're wasting too much time driving around.
I know.
We're wasting too much time driving around.
Or sailing.
Yes.
Yeah. Now
you just imagine the players' excitement. Hey, today you're going to get on a bus and drive to Yuma for an hour and a half. No, thank you.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I think it's a little longer than that.
Is it longer than that? Is it 2? I don't know.
I think it's close to 4.
Oof.
Yeah. And so now it's all centralized in one area. I mean, it's spread out, but all in.
But it's all in the Phoenix metro area.
Yeah.
All right, DJ PK, we'll come back with your feedback next. The Slacker Radio headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your local trusted financial fiduciary, 1-855-TRAJAN1, or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com.
And it's all over almost here.
Don't go nowhere.
And now, enough of us. It's time to hear from you. From all your texts, tweets, and posts. This is the best feedback of the day.
Ooh, I was there. That's the best game of my life.
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Question of the morning, any concern that all this Kalani Sitake versus Brian Santiago stuff is a distraction that could sidetrack the team? I think that we should put a pause in here and say that neither one of you or I believe that it's just Brian Santiago. That doesn't make sense to us. That Brian could somehow personally, individually hold all this up. Now,
but he would have the most power of any athletic director's ever had if that were the case.
By a wide margin. And
it's not even close.
Administrators, church leaders, there must be some other people who think this makes sense or it would have been resolved.
Relief Society, yeah.
I suppose anything is possible. Anything is possible! Kevin Garnett has entered the chat. So, any concern that all this drama could distract or sidetrack this team? Kyle, I wasn't concerned last week, but now I am. The more it drags on, even if it's just on social media, the more I think it'll hurt the team on the field. Fans think they're helping by calling for people to get fired. Maybe they aren't hurting, but I think they are. David says the PR team needs to put out a statement ASAP. See what David did? I think that's comedy.
That's decent.
That's comedy.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
Jeff says, I do think it needs to get resolved. My guess is it won't have much impact on the team. What I'm interested to see is if BYU has another good season, which I think they will. What happens then? Kalani's going to get offers. Next time, I think it'll be a hard line for him, and I'm not sure if by then he'll feel a little betrayed by BYU in general for not doing something sooner.
I think the real test will come after the season.
Right.
There's like that 2 to 3 week period. I don't know if he'll get offers, but I believe he'll have interest.
Or in late October, early November. Just wait for marquee coaches to let go, and then it starts.
I think at those times it's really back channel stuff.
But the lists and the speculation start, and his name will be out.
And you're right, though. It could start. It could be November 1st.
His name will be out there for a couple reasons. One, because of the Penn State, and two, because of all of this. The thinking is, yeah, they couldn't have pried him away then, but now you can pry him away. Now he's dissatisfied.
Right.
And those are just lists. It doesn't mean it actually happens, but then you have a distraction late in the year and all that.
Correct. Yeah. If there's a high-profile coach, I don't know that we're going to see every season a high-profile coach from a high-profile program be let go.
Zach says, does anyone know what's really going on? Much as it seems like a lot of speculation to me. Either way, I'm fully confident Kalani will have the team ready this season.
Well, it is not speculation. I mean, he's been open about it himself.
He's talked about it. And he said, he's talked about it to the point he said, my agent's going to handle it.
Yeah.
So when he says my agent is going to handle it, he's not denying that it's going on. He's saying it's a thing, and it's a thing to the point that he didn't want to be distracted with it.
Yeah, it's you can speculate on exactly what it is and how much it is, but the issue is not speculationable.
The devil is in the details, and there is speculation there. And I think what you brought up would make more sense. It could be true, though, now, but it would make more sense to me further down the road. Because with a contract, some things are laid out, but some things you can't know and just have to be, yes, we are going to compete at the highest level. We're going to, match the average of the top 3 teams in the Big 12. But the bag is going to get moved back over time, inevitably. There's just too much gray. You just don't know specifically where things are going to go.
Right.
In the short run, you can know specifically where things are going to go. That's what surprises me, that this has happened in the short run. If this happened 2-3 years down the road, it'd be more understandable. That it's happened in 6-8 months, that's the surprising part to me.
Right.
Because it's like you say, this thing's just accelerating like crazy. All right, we're all done. Scotty G, Tim Lacombe next, right here on The Zone.
I'm done. So done.
Well, that's our show.
It's over.
What? It's over. It is over.
Is that it?
That's it. Everybody still awake?
Will you come on already? I just can't stand these long goodbyes.
All right, big finish. See you later.